I just wake up in the morning and I yell a lot, even though it's way too early. It's fun though. Wake up, wake up, wake up! Wake up, wake up, wake up! Can you guys hear me? Does my mic sound nice? Shout out to everybody who's in the chat. Welcome to Up Way Too Early with Garage Gym Life. So that is the tentative new show title. So I need to know what you guys think of it. Shout out to everybody who is already here in the chat. My guy Carlos said he is getting ready to get in some bench reps. That's actually what I was doing yesterday when I was talking to you, Carlos. I was getting a bench workout in. There you go. Let's go ahead and get it. Let's get it. That's why this show is here. We are your workout buddy. We're your I don't know, ride or die when you driving to work. If you like Eric Eccles and you've been awake forever, you know, we're here to keep you company at work. And look at that, we got a couple of celebrities in the building. My guy Tattooed Saying says hello from the future. He's in the UK and they're a few hours ahead. So I always expect him to tell me, you know, all I need you to do, Matt, is just warn me if something bad is going to happen. You know what I'm saying? I hate that you had to go through it, but at least you can warn everybody in America so we don't have to go through it as well. My guy Kurt Locker is back in the saddle. Hey, it's Daddy. My man. All right. Let's see here. All right. So if this is your first time checking out the show, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. As I said, this is the only fitness morning show, and it is presented to you by Garage Gym Life. The title is Way Too Early for a Friday, but I'm thinking about rebranding it to Up Way Too Early with Garage Gym Life. So I'm thinking that that's what we're going to change it to. I like that a little bit better because it blends Garage Gym Life and Up Way Too Early. So if you guys, if it's your first time, go ahead, hit that like button for me, hit subscribe, help me reach 50,000 subscribers. The train slowed down just a little bit, you know, our subscriber growth slowed down a little bit, but it looks like it's picking momentum back up. So we need to keep this thing going. I want to get to 50,000 subscribers by December, and I need your help to help me get there. If you're already a member and you like to support the channel, help us, you know, handle like the day-to-day expenses, equipment, things like that, then go ahead. All you got to do is click that join button and you will become a member of our Garage Gym Life tribe here on YouTube. It's only 99 cents a month. And like I said, every dime that you guys give goes back into supporting the channel and helping the channel grow. So all you got to do is find that link. It's right there at the bottom of the video. And it's the blue join button. Just click on there and you'll be able to join the channel. All right, let's go ahead and let's do our rundown, show you guys what is going to be coming up today. We got a pretty fun show, I believe, today. As always, we're going to shout out each time zone when it is 6 a.m. for them. So let's get it started right now. Shout out to the East Coast, which is technically it's the coast I'm on, you know, even though I'm in the South, but you know, I'm on East Coast time. So good morning. It's 6 a.m. Let's get things started. To get up, get out, and get something. All right. And then we're going to be shouting out the Central Time Zone, Mountain Time Zone, and Pacific Time Zone as usual. We're going to have a brand new Recliner of Rage segment. Once again, I'm mad. I get mad every week. And I come to you guys because it's a safe space for me to unburden my feelings and let y'all know how I feel about stuff. That way I don't walk around stressed out. All right. And as I have done in the past, this is a forum. If you have some rage that you would like to share with the family, you go ahead, you just hit me up and let me know, and I will provide a venue for you to safely explain why you're mad so we can be mad with you. And in fact, if time is permitting, that leads to something else. If time permits, we may be able to do our first. I got something special that I want to do. We might be doing Free for All Friday later on in the show. So you guys want to stay tuned and check that out. But that would be an awesome opportunity for you to express your rage at something during Free for All Friday. But I also have a couple of guests who are joining me. We've got my guy Tim from Gym Crafter. He's going to be coming on, and he's going to be talking about his new podcast, which some of you guys have already been watching. I know Kurt has been checking that out. And also Tim's going to give us some of his tips based upon his years of experience as a home gym owner, tips for picking the best power rack for your home gym. So you don't want to miss that. And then after that, right after that, at the 8 o'clock hour, we're going to have Jake from Garage Gym Radio. He's going to be joining us, and he's going to be, number one, he's going to be giving us an update on HomeGymCon and letting us know what's going on with that. You know, I already got my room, but I just want to know if there's going to be enough room for you guys, you know, because the national media is going to descend on Louisville, Kentucky, now that the word is out that Jonathan from No Fate 24/7 channel will be in attendance for 2025. So he's going to be there. You know, he's going to suck all the oxygen out of the room because everybody's going to be mobbing him for autographs. It'll be like Taylor Swift showing up. So yeah, we need to find out how Jake's going to deal with this. Plus, he's also going to explain everything that all the information we have currently about the first ever Garage Gym Games and how you can be a part of it. And then in the final hour, we're going to do something I'm a little afraid to try, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Like I said, time permitting. It's called Free for All Friday. You guys will be able to come on the show. I'm going to share the link at the final hour. And you can come on and you can ask anything you want that's home gym related. So you can come on. You don't have to share your video. So you can come on and you can keep your, you know, if you're somewhere where you can't show your background, let's say you're at work or something like that, and you don't have a lot of time, you can come on and you can keep your camera off, but you can still join. And yes, there's a StreamYard app. You can just use it on your phone. So go ahead. If you're interested in coming on, go ahead and go get the StreamYard app from your app store now. And then that way, when I share the link, you guys will be able to just click that link. It'll be in the chat. And then you'll be able to come on. Like I said, you'll be able to keep your camera off if you want. You can have your camera on if you want. I don't care. But just don't start cussing because you'll screw up my algorithm. And we're trying to make this show grow. But yeah, you can come on. You can talk about anything you want as long as it's home gym related. So before we jump into our first segment, which is news and other things, well, look at him. There's my man. No Fate 24/7 is here. He has joined the channel. Look at it. He's right here. Bam, look at that. Checking in on leg day. That's what I'm saying. I mean, bam. Just like that. Now it's a party. Jonathan, I'm just saying, man, the paparazzi are gonna be in Louisville now that you know the word's out that you're gonna be there. So I'm just bracing for the onslaught. Let's see here. See who else is here. My guy Jared Martin says, what is up, people? Hey, good to have you, Jared. Let's see. The lime button is engaged. Oh, my. Okay. I don't know what that is. It sounds like you're drinking a lime pre-workout, which I guess would be like drinking a Mountain Dew. I don't know. But there's nothing wrong with being adventurous. So you know what? This is cool. All right. So Carlos is squatting. No, Carlos is benching today. He was squatting yesterday. Then Jonathan he said he's here on leg day. Jared is doing chest. It's chest day for Jared. All right. And Eric Eccles, we know Eric is at work. All right. Now, Eric, you shared something with me in the DMs on Instagram this morning. And I don't know if you heard, but we got Freestyle Friday. So if you would like to, you know, jump into the show at some point, we're going to be starting Free for All Friday, like I said, time permitting, at the 9 o'clock hour. So you can come on and just express yourself if you like. I know some of you guys by that time will be working, but hey, and tell your boss you're going to the bathroom, you know. Let's see here. Eric Echo said that Jonathan's going to be trying to get his autograph. I mean, as well he should. It's only right. My guy, Justin Holland. Hey, what's up, my man? Let's see here. Eric said he's at work. He has to leave and go to a wedding. I thought you were already married. And Matt said that Friday is deadlift day for him. All right. Well, there you go. All right. We're off to a good start. This is what I like. All right. So let's keep this party rolling and let's go ahead and jump into some of the news items that we have with news and other things. All right, so the first news item I have is that Bells of Steel is having a clearance sale, and I've got the link right here. So let's go ahead and go through some of the things that they have available, because you guys may be interested in it. So this is all the stuff that's on sale, And essentially, from the email that I got, of course, it's while supplies last, but it's up to 20% off of their barbells and their 60 to 100-pound dumbbells. But all the stuff that you guys can see right here is on sale. So, like, for example, their powerlifting bar is normally $219.99. It's $199.99. Their black bumper plates are normally $69.99. They're now $55.99 while supplies last. Their mini bands, I don't need any of those, thanks. But if you do need some bands, they are on sale for only $15.99. And then the Blitz Max Air Bike is on sale, is up to 25% off. So you guys can see that there's a ton of stuff there. Got stuff that's on sale. So you guys want to go ahead and head on over to bellsofsteel.us and do collections. And in fact, I'll put that link here in the chat for you guys because it's, let's see, link to Bells of Sale. And then if you are watching on replay, shout out to the replay gang. But we will have I'll have the link to the Bells of Steel sale in the description for the video, so you guys will be able to access it as well. But there you go. I just posted it in the chat, so anybody who's watching on YouTube or Facebook, you guys can check it out right there. Anyway, so like I said, they got a ton of stuff that's on sale. I mentioned the dumbbells. These are on sale. They're normally $419.99. You'll be able to grab them for $335.99. So that's I think that's a pretty good deal right there. And then something else that came across my radar is they've got the Bells of Steel Universal Hydra storage system. So when I checked this thing out, it looked to me, I'm not saying they copied it, okay? But it just reminded me of the storage from Surplus Strength. And, shout out to Surplus Strength. I always like to give credit where possible to whoever was first to come out with something, especially if it's home gym equipment. So I just saw your question, Jared. I'm going to go ahead. I'll put a star on there. All right. For Jake to answer later. All right. And it says Rep Fitness now has the Underworld, which is basically their Boneyard sale. Yeah, I mean, so there's a couple of things before we move on to the next thing. Before I go back to talking about the Hydra storage, it's like, if you think about it, these companies are constantly making product, right? They make a ton of product, and they always have to. It's almost like they have to over manufacture, right? Because it's better to have too much than to run out and have stuff on back order, and then you're frustrating customers or whatever, right? So they usually, from what I can tell, they usually order too much stuff. Then they got to liquidate their clearance because they've got the next batch of stuff that's going to be coming in right behind it. Because, hey, the workers at the factory show up for work every day, and if your job is making stuff, you're going to show up at work and you're going to make stuff. And then once you make the stuff, you're going to give it to the people whose job it is to sell this stuff and to ship the stuff. And so there's like a constant pipeline of things. And so you can really sometimes you can get some really good deals from the scratch and dent sales from brands, and also from the Boneyard, or, like their clearance. You shopping on the clearance rack, right? There's no shame in shopping on the clearance rack. So you save a lot of money like that. So that's like a legit home gym tip. And so if you like a brand, it's a good idea to get on their mailing list. Like, I'm on the Bells of Steel mailing list. I'm on the Rep Fitness mailing list. A few others, French Sport, a few of them, right? That way, if something from them that I'm looking for happens to go on clearance, I can grab it and not spend, and maybe save a little bit of money. So that is a good tip. Appreciate you sharing that, Eric. All right. Now, like I said, Bells of Steel has the Hydra storage system, and their storage system, let me see if I can find this link here. It's the Bells of Steel Hydra Universal Storage. All right. And I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna pull this up for you guys. Okay, so let me go ahead and share the screen so you guys can see it, and you'll see why I said it reminds me of the surplus strength factor. So this is, so check out the bells of steel. This is and basically it's the storage builder. So you get to choose, if it matches the Hydra ecosystem, right? So it's compatible with the Hydra rack. So first of all, you'd say, okay, do I have 90-inch uprights, 84-inch, whatever? So you pick the height that you need. Then next step would be you would want to go next. You have the option to choose your upright color. Then you select the width, and so on and so forth, right? The thing about it is, and let's go ahead and let's check out the ARC series. All right, so this is the ARC series from Surplus Strength. The couple of things I noticed is the price. So the ARC series is $2,600, whereas the Hydra Storage Builder, it looks like it's cheaper, but once I finished building everything, I chose my height at 90 inches. I don't have a Hydra rack, but I would probably get the 90-inch just because of my ceiling height. And I, probably black because that's my favorite color. And, just go with width or whatever. Let's say 30-inch width. And then if I just match everything to the surplus strength storage, right? And just make everything exactly the same. See, surplus strength, do they have feet? Well, let's not add feet or casters, but they do have plate storage, all 3 options of plate storage. Okay. And add a utility hooks. Well, you can't do that because it's out of stock, but whatever. All right. And then, okay, and then you don't have to add any of this stuff. Okay. So let me see did I miss anything? Got that. Upright color. Okay. Got all that. Okay. All right. So as you guys can see, once I got all that added, it jumped the price up to $1,026.91. And I grant you that's before shipping. And surplus strength, it gives you 2 size options of 72 by 72 or 72 by 48. And that'll adjust your price. So if you got the 72 by 48, that brings your price down to $2,250. So the surplus strength version is more expensive, but I'm not sure what the difference is with the shipping and all that, because I don't have this one either. I just think it's good to have some sort of reference point to compare, because you do have Rep Fitness now has storage option. I believe Fringe has a storage option. So it's I don't like to just jump just because something's new and shiny. I don't jump on it. I like to go back and compare what's already out there, as well as, so you guys saw that some of the options from Bells of Steel were out of stock. Well, if Surplus Strength already has it, and for me personally, they're right up the road in Nashville, which doesn't mean I'm going to drive up there and get it, but I'm just saying it's a shorter distance, so that may affect my shipping costs, right? As opposed to getting something shipped from Bells of Steel, and I presume it would be coming from Indiana. And in any case, it's just one of those things where it's I like to have options, so I like to tell you guys about the options as well, if that makes sense. And Jared says that Bells of Steel is the most customizable group, again, outside of colors, but he recognized that, yes, they do have colors. Yeah, you have the option of black. I just like black. You have the option of black, or you can get it in colors. Yes. But that's the other thing about it too, is you can see the difference in options available when you go with a company like Bells of Steel, which has a huge ecosystem of products. I mean, they've got the Hydra, they got the Manticore, they've got a bunch of stuff, and they've had a little bit more time to kind of field test. That, I think that might be the best way to say it. They've had time to field test some of the products, whereas Surplus Strength is a newer company, fewer employees, real, basically a mom and pop operation that he's running. And so, it's not that doesn't mean don't go with surplus strength, because I really like their stuff. I've been up there, toured their facility, and I really love the stuff that they have. Most of us who are watching this have been to HomeGymCon. Well, most of us who are in the chat anyway have been to HomeGymCon, and you've seen the surplus strength stuff in person. So you can, vouch for the fact that their stuff is really good quality. But so is Bells of Steel. So the difference is, if you've already got a Bells of Steel rack, the fact that you can get this storage will marry with it, to me, is a plus in its favor. Whereas you'd have to maybe figure things out with the surplus strength rack to make sure, storage rack, to make sure that it fit if, you didn't have a surplus strength rack. So there's that. Carlos is like, so you're window shopping and grabbing from the clearance rack. I don't know what gave you the idea that I wasn't. All right. Yeah. So Kurt says the following is a current list of the surplus strength staff. Wait for it. Jason. Well, but see, I thought so when I went up there, Jason had a guy, it was a kid, a teenager really, who was working there. Basically, he was like helping with boxing orders. Yeah. He was helping like to just put orders in boxes. So like I said, it's a mom and pop operation. And if you like to support veteran owned, if you're in the US and you like to support a veteran owned business, Jason is a veteran. So, okay, I see. All right. So he's not, so yeah, it is down to just Jason. Okay. So like I said, if veteran owned matters to you, American owned matters to you, then obviously surplus strength is the way you want to go. If you, like I said, if you already have Bells of Steel stuff and you want to kind of stay in their ecosystem, that's, you have that option as well. I come from, I got a little bit more of a holistic approach. Like, I don't like to necessarily get everything from just one company. Instead, I like to get the stuff that I like, that fits, what I need. So I've got stuff from multiple brands here in my home gym, but I know some people are all into like the OCD of the uniformity is what gets them. They got to have all the labels got to be the same. You know what I'm saying? I'm completely comfortable with wearing a different brand of shoes than the people who made my jeans, for example. All right, now let's move on to something else. And somebody brought up Rogue. And so Rogue apparently has an adjustable bench. So I'm going to go to that link. Let me go ahead and pull that link up here because, oh boy, it's not bad. I checked it out. It's called the Rogue Manta Ray Adjustable Bench. Okay. The thing is, in my opinion, the Rogue adjustable bench, Manta Ray adjustable bench, which I'm going to show you in a second, looks to me like pretty much the Crandall Fitness adjustable bench. All right. So let me go ahead and go to Rogue. And let me go ahead and share my screen real quick. So there's a Rogue Manta Ray. So this is the Rogue Manta Ray adjustable bench. You guys see it's got the premium USA textured foam pad, machined UHMW adjustment core, optional foot catch. That sounds exciting. Look at that. All right. And there's kind of what it looks like down here at the bottom. All right, cool. Looks like it's $895. So it's $895, but then if I add the Manta Ray, the Manta Ray foot catch, because of course I would. So let's say I add that, bam, that's $1,095. Okay, let's head on over to the Crandall Fitness bench that I told you guys reminds me of it. Oh, look at that. And it includes they call it a leg roller instead of a foot catch. But I mean, it's kind of looks like the same thing. I'm just saying, and I ain't saying, I'm just saying. I'm just kind of saying, Now, I'm not dumb, okay? And I do recognize that there are some differences. Like for, like, as you can tell, obviously, there's a black dude on the rogue bench, and, Sean is in black. Sean's a white guy. All right. But other than that, I mean, it looks like the same dang bench. And I don't really understand why the bench on the left is $1,095 and the bench on the right is currently $549.99. Maybe there's something I'm missing. But all I'm saying is just look at the pictures. I'm not an expert, but just look at the pictures. And in case you're wondering, the Cranial Fitness bench came first. So there you go. Anyway, let's go ahead and let's remove that off of there. For one of y'all calls the NAACP on me for bringing up the fact that the guy in one picture was black and the other one's white. All right. But yeah, I just don't get it. Oh, black coating costs money. Oh, that's racist. Carlos says black coating costs money. That's just racist. I better stop. My mom watches this show and she scolded me last week. She said I said something I said a bad word, but I said no. She said I said bad initials. I don't even remember. I honestly don't remember what I said, but I was like, and I told her, I don't remember what I said. She said, "Oh, you said something." So I just went ahead and apologized. Like, I apologize. So, well, there you go. Matt's got the answer. Rogue uses really expensive letters on their products. Oh, well, there you go. That's got to be the answer. Because I'm just saying. I mean, look, the one on the left. Well, I don't know if it's left or right. The one with the black dude. Okay. Oh, you know what? Let's just go with this. The one with the guy with white shoes on is $1,000. The one with the guy with the orange shoes and the orange medicine ball in his hand is about $549. That's it. I'll just leave that there. All right. Now, let's move on to the next item. You guys go ahead and y'all can keep on commenting about the stuff that I talked about, the sale, the Bells of Steel sale, and also some of these comparisons that I brought up. But now we're going to go into tales from my inbox. So I meant to tell you guys about this last week. Okay, this is not Recliner Rage. It's just a tale from my inbox because I think it's, yeah. Anyway, so what happened is I tried to delete my Flow softball account. All right, you're like, well, what's that? I don't know if you ever heard of. So if you have kids who are involved in youth sports, then at some point you've watched Flow Sports, right? So we were watching it because our kids were wrestling. So you could go on Flow Wrestling and you could watch some of the matches, and they also had results from some of the tournaments. This is years ago, but they would have like some of the tournament results on Flow Wrestling. So I had a Flow Wrestling account. And then once we started live streaming, I was trying to watch as many different ways that people were doing live streams. Because, I mean, I could watch NBC Sports, but I don't have NBC Sports money, to run my live stream. So I got to kind of bring my expectations down a little bit. But I wanted to see what's possible, with a lower budget. And so I got a Flow Sports account, and it was basically you end up getting access to a bunch of different sports. So you can watch track and field, you can watch, there's like cross country running. Basically, they have all the sports that don't get a lot of attention from mainstream media. So anyway, but I don't need that anymore. So I thought I deleted all of them, and then I got a notification from Flow softball, something, right? And I was like, Flow softball? I definitely don't need that. So I try to delete my Flow softball account. So first of all, it's been so long that I didn't even remember my login. So I had to remember my login. Then this is what they make you do, right? So you have to remember your login. Then you got to log in to find out how to delete it. And the instructions are to send an email, right? So I emailed what I thought was the address they gave me. And then I received a reply from Flow Health. Remember, I'm emailing Flow Softball, I thought. And Flow Health came back Flow Health emailed me back, and apparently Flow Health has nothing to do with wrestling or youth sports, but a lot to do with women's ovulation calendars, which I definitely didn't sign up to find out about. All right. And so I'm confused. So I'm just like, what the heck? Well, then Flow Health sent me another email. Well, they said, hey, this is Flow Health. And basically you probably need to reach out to Flow Softball. But, yeah. And then they had something like, I was like, Flow Health. And it's like at the bottom, it said it had like women's ovulation calendars. The leading, whatever. I stopped looking at it. Right. And then they sent me another email. Hey, how did we do? Flow Sports did. Hey, how did we do with answering your query? I'm like, you sent me to the wrong place. What a time to be alive. Like I said, that's not Recliner Rage. That is not Recliner Rage. It's just something that happened. And I'm just sharing with you what's going on, pretty much how my life is going so far. Since we last spoke, it was, like I said, it's just a little minor thing I wanted to share with y'all. Carlos said, you better respect Mama Greaves. Man, I'm telling you, dude, yeah, I ain't letting her get mad at me. She's watching now. So I'm not, Mommy, I love you. All right. I am, by the way, her favorite. Carlos said they make it hard as heck to unsubscribe, just like some of those fitness clubs out there. That's what I'm saying. It's like but here's the thing, they're not getting any money from me. So I'm like, why? Like you're getting nothing. Well, I guess maybe they figure as long as we got you, we can always send you something and you may, you might inadvertently agree to it or something like that. But I made double sure that they're not getting any money from me and they haven't been getting money from me and they have not. It's just basically, I don't like having accounts out there with passwords and all that kind of stuff. Even if it's not a password I use anywhere else, just because it's a vulnerability. That's how you get hacked. You have an account somewhere that you don't pay attention to. Somebody goes on there, and next thing you know, they're reaching out to all your contacts, telling them, that they're you and to send them money or some junk like that. So I ain't into that. All right, let's see here. Big Sean, that's a rapper actually. Central Time Zone, waking up, day 2 of fasting, getting started on rucking. Hey, welcome, man. Welcome back to the show. I got to talk to Sean a little bit last night. Hey, so you're about to get started on rucking. So you're gonna be rucking today? All right. So you're gonna be rucking today while in a fasted state. That's pretty cool. One of the things that's crazy about fasting is like when you fast, like basically you're only taking in water. It's like somewhere around day 3, you all of a sudden get like a surge of energy because the energy that your body normally uses to digest food is now available. And so all of a sudden you get like a surge of energy. It's just weird. Another item, this one's for you, Kurt, Statty Daddy. For some reason, I've been invited to promote, and I say for some reason because I really don't know what this is. Okay, let's see who these people are. Right, I don't know how to pronounce their name. Let's start with that. But they sent a thing to me saying they wanted me to promote something called a shacket. Yes, a shacket jacket. And I will say that the day I read that email was the day I discovered the existence of the shacket jacket. That's literally what it's called. Shack, like something, you live in by the sea, by a river. Shacket. So jacket, but with SH instead of J. So shacket jacket. And the email was, it was amazing. It says nice to contact you, whatever. And, they started like they normally do, say we're requesting a collaboration. But the reason why I'm telling you guys about this is because because of my favorite sentence in the email. All right, here we go. So y'all pay attention, okay? And by the way, if anybody is interested in promoting the shacket jacket, just let me know and I'll be happy to provide you their contact information so you can get your you can go ahead and fulfill that dream. But anyway, so the shacket, you want to know what a shacket jacket is? All right, Carlos, you did this to yourself. All right, it's a shacket jacket, man. I wonder if this counts as promotion. There you go. That is a shacket jacket. Look at that. That's what they wanted me to promote. I don't know if it comes with a skirt or if the skirt's extra or yeah. So that's a shacket jacket. All right. Anyway, so they reach out to me, want to know if I will keep in mind now, this is Garage Gym Life, keyword gym. I don't know what that has to do with gyms, but whatever. Shacket jacket. And they said they want me to promote it. But I told y'all all that just so I could tell you this. This is my favorite line in the email. Could you create a video for free? Just something simple, just 20 or 30 seconds, and just comment with some words or sentences in the video. That's legendary. Could you that's the collaboration. We'll send you this jacket and we want you to make a free video and, just 20, 30 seconds and use words or sentences. Now, I got a choice. I have a choice of words or sentences in the video. So I am tempted, because of who I am tempted to shoot a video where I just say the phrase words or sentences over and over, right? But I'm not going to do it. It might, to be honest with you, it sounds like an excellent opportunity for Dresmond because he needs a job. But I'm not interested in promoting the shacket jacket in any way. See, Kurt, I knew you were going to take this in the wrong direction. All right. And so that is my opportunity to remind everyone here that we have a no butterfly zone. Okay. This is a no butterfly zone. 100% no butterfly zone. All right. Yeah, the shacket jacket. Carlos, I know you think it's a flannel, but it's not a flannel, Carlos. It's a shacket jacket. All right. You really need to get more in touch, get your finger on the pulse of fashion, okay? Or you're never going to get anywhere in life, all right? There's a shacket jacket. In fact, I think you need to practice saying shacket jacket. Matt says, I just list different exercises while wearing the shacket jacket. I'm serious, dude. I don't understand. I really don't know. I'm like, what made you reach out to me? Like, what is it? Because you know how you always say to yourself, you try to go back and look at the mistakes you've made in life. I really want to reach out to so many people. What made you reach out? What made you choose me so I can make sure I go and never do that again? Because I don't want anybody else contacting me about shacket jackets. Okay, that I just whatever. Go ahead. I got my Visp going. Visp, y'all see this? This is free. This is free promotion. Go ahead, send me money. I give y'all my Venmo, my Cash App if you want, but let's do business. I really like your product. Look, refreshing. All right. Anyway, so yeah, I think Dresmond might want to do it, but you know what? Bump Dresmond. All right. Anyway, it is now time for y'all's favorite segment because it just is. Prepare yourself.
It's the recliner of rage.
It's the recliner of rage, 'cause he's not happy.
That's right. It's the segment that you all love. That is the segment Sean O'Rourke mentioned it last night when I had the privilege of speaking to him. He said he's talking about recliner rage. He said he's yet another person who said that the Recliner of Rage theme song gets stuck in his head. So anybody who wants to use the Recliner of Rage song as their ringtone, hit me up and you can go ahead. You can put it. You can use it as a ringtone. We'll work it out. So anyway, here we go. Why am I mad? Be honest with you. Nah, I am mad. The heck with it. I was about to take some responsibility, but I decided it ain't my fault. No. So my fan And I'm glad I got a fan, okay? Because it's hot. It's stupid hot right now. But my fan is so loud. This is definitely first world problems. I get it. My fan, so I got a TV in the gym, especially, typically I use it when I'm on the treadmill, right? So if I'm on the treadmill, I have the TV on. But even if I'm squatting or something like that, because time is just compressed. So sometimes I do research for people, research on somebody I'm going to interview. They got YouTube videos or something like that. I'll put the YouTube video up and I'll listen to the YouTube video while I'm in the gym training, because that kind of helps me manage my time. Well, my fan is so loud that I can't hear the TV. And our gym is right on the other side of the wall from my wife's home office. So I can't turn the TV up too loud, because then that interferes with her calls for work, right? Especially if she's training people or something like that day. I'm not prepared to incur her wrath because the TV is too loud. So I can't turn the TV up too loud, but the fan is so loud, it's like a helicopter taking off. And so I can't, basically I have to wear headphones. That's actually why I got my Raycons, right? So I have to wear my Raycons when I am on the treadmill, or if I have the fan on, period. Problem is, I can't wear the headphones when I squat, because the headphones hit the squat bar, right? And yes, I could just duck my head a little bit more, but then that messes with my squat setup. Again, I get it. First world problems, but I don't like it. So anyway, let me live, okay? So anyway, as I said, I got to wear headphones because the fan's too loud, but I can't wear headphones when I'm squatting. So what I have to do is turn the TV off or turn the fan off, right? So if I want to hear the TV, I turn the fan off. So that means I'm sweating bullets while I'm squatting. And what kind of sense does this make? I got to turn the fan off so I can squat. And then I turn it back on so I can put my headphone after my set is over and put my headphones back on. Y'all just see me in my gym, take the headphones off, turn off the fan, get a set of squats. All right, turn the fan on, put the headphones back on. It's just annoying. It's getting on my nerves. It didn't get on my nerves last week, but this week it did. Okay. I just decided I'm mad. I'm mad. Let me be mad. Don't be reasonable. Don't try to talk me down. Just let me be mad about it. The fan's too loud. In fact, after much consideration, I've decided that I'm going to also blame this on Fernando. Remember Fernando from Vitamin Shop? Well, I'm blaming him for this too. Just general principle. I know he's catching shrapnel, but I'm still kind of mad at him from last week over the dang nasty pre-workout. So, Fernando, I hate you for this too, okay? All your fault, man. I ain't calming down. And it's hot. It's hot and the fan's too loud. So I hate the fact that I got to make a choice. Don't make me make a choice. I don't want to. This is not a situation where I should have to make a choice. Okay? Okay. Deep breath. Deep breath. The Recliner of Rage is sponsored by Freedom Fitness Equipment. And that's the only place to get Garage Gym Life banners, in case you're wondering. There's no need, regardless, for you to be in a Recliner Rage, especially if you got a fan that's not too loud. But you can get all your equipment from Freedom Fitness Equipment, and then you'll be in your home gym happy place. And you can make that happen by either visiting them, freedomfitnessequipment.com, or you can just call Ashton on the phone, 980-216-4860, and he will hook you up. Make sure you get a banner while you're there. And then tell them, hey, man. In fact, they're having a sale right now on a bunch of equipment. So they're having a sale as well. They're having a sale on a bunch of equipment over at Freedom Fitness Equipment. So go ahead, hit them up. You can get a bunch of stuff. They got a bunch of cardio equipment, a bunch of I saw some functional trainers on their website. So this is actually a really good time to hit them up. Let them know the Garage Gym Life sent you. And while you're there, if you'd like to get a banner, well, let you find out all about it. So there you go. Hey, if you're a home gym owner, you should know that nothing puts the finishing touch on your home gym like one of our high-quality laminated vinyl banners. These banners can be found in home gyms around the world where home gym owners are pushing themselves daily to achieve their fitness goals. All you have to do to add one of these premium banners to your home gym space is visit our friends at freedomfitnessequipment.com to place your order. And Ashton and the crew at Freedom Fitness will get your banner shipped securely to you anywhere in the United States. Unlike flimsy gym flags that fade over time and get tattered if they're exposed to the elements, our banners are made of heavy-duty vinyl and laminated to protect the colors from sun damage, so they'll look good for years to come. In fact, once you receive your banner and hang it up, you never have to take it down unless you want to clean it, which is easy to do with soap and water. Then you can just hang it back up to proudly display your membership in the worldwide Garage Gym Life family. So visit freedomfitnessequipment.com to get your banner today, and don't forget to post a pic and tag at Garage Gym Life on Instagram when you hang up your banner so we can shout you out and say thank you for your support. All right, so there you go. That's our brand new commercial. It's kind of long, but it gets the job done. So, for all of you guys, like my guy Matt, who you guys saw, my guy Carlos, who you guys also saw, shout out to all you guys for getting the banner, supporting the channel. If you want to get a banner, hey, the link is going to be in the description, so you can grab one from Freedom Fitness and hook up your home gym today, like I said. And once you get one and you hang it up, please tag me at Garage Gym Life on Instagram, because I really do want to shout you out and say thank you for your support. And I'm going to post it here on YouTube in the community post as well, because you guys don't know how much it means when you guys Justin Holland also has one. You guys don't know how much it means when you believe in the vision enough to spend your money. So let's go. Okay, I see a little bit of slander. So I'm going to go ahead. Let's just go back up here. So first of all, Matt said it's a no for the jacket promo because he's trying to promote Beast Farm. Use code SAYIN. Look at this dude. I ain't mad at you. I'd let you come on during Free for All Friday if I didn't think you'd get in trouble with your boss at the job, Matt. Carlos said, "Be mad, bro." To say thank you, man. Just that's what I'm saying. Just let me be mad. Don't try to understand it. Don't try to reason with me and help me understand. No, I don't care. No. And I ain't calming down, Kurt. I ain't calming down. Carlos said the nervous tick is starting. If you are listening to the audio version of this show on Podbean, you definitely need to head on over to YouTube and check out the replay. Join the replay gang, so you can check out the Recliner Rage segment. There are timestamps if you're watching on replay, so you guys can see the moment Recliner Rage happens. Because, like I said, it is everybody's favorite segment. Because I feel like it says something about y'all that your favorite segment is the stuff that makes me upset. But there you go. Forget you, Fernando. That's what I'm talking about. That's the loyalty I expect. Okay? That's what I'm saying. Justin said you might need a new fan. All right. So I am an American, not Americant. So what I've been doing is my wife and I actually have been looking at portable AC units. And I picked one out and we ordered it. So it should be getting delivered sometime this coming week. So we're going to go ahead and install it in the gym, and we'll just, so I'll be doing a review of it, let you guys know how well it works. My gym space is roughly 14 by 28. And I say roughly because there's a little section that's actually where it's 16 across instead of 14. But for most of it, it's 14 across. So 14 feet across. And so we'll just see how that works. I'll let you guys know. Kurt says you're cute when you're upset, but that's where you're wrong, Kurt. I look good all the time. All right. Carlos, you're not supposed to laugh at my pain, man. That's what I'm talking about. What am I? They're like talking about I'm adorable. What am I, like what's the thing? An Ewok? Hey, I'm gonna tell you something. Ewoks are carnivores, okay? And remember, they were about to eat Luke and Han and all of them until Luke used the Force and scared him with C-3PO. Okay, hey, don't you see what the Ewoks did to the dang Empire? Jared said he's still the only Recliner of Rage guest. I'm trying to get Eric to come in because he's got some stuff he's mad about. Or if he's not mad, I'll be mad for him. You know, I'm completely comfortable with you coming on, Eric, and just saying what's going on calmly, and then I'll be mad for you. Okay, I'll do that for you too. That's also a service we provide. You tell us what's going on, and then even if you're not mad, we can get mad for you. We'll get mad on your behalf. Carlos said he's just a happy-go-lucky, plucky ducky. I'm mad. You know, I'm not even mad. I'm very sad at you for even typing that sentence out. Happy-go-lucky, plucky ducky. I believe enough to have two. Yeah. Man, Justin, thank you. Like I said, you're my guy, dude. Dude, Garage Gym Life Tea, the limited edition. You know what? Something that says Fernando. Something to talk about Fernando. That'd be something like only the insiders would get. But really, I'm thinking about, I need, one of y'all aspiring artists who love the show. I need somebody to design a Recliner of Rage t-shirt. You know, right? Design a Recliner of Rage t-shirt. And that we'll see if we can't make that happen. All right. Anyway, so a couple of things. As I said, we're about to have Tim join us Tim Steward from Gymcraft to join us in a few minutes. So you guys start, kind of if you have any questions for him about that. I know, Kurt, I've seen you comment on some of his videos, but if you have any questions about his podcast, about really anything that he's got going on right now, you can go ahead and you can go ahead and start dropping those in the chat right now. Jared, so now we got merch ideas. So it's a Garage Gym Life coffee mug for these early Friday hangouts. We actually had a coffee mug in our merch store, and they just weren't moving. So I took them, but I can add it back in. I'm definitely cool with that. So it's essentially like this cup right here, but it's, smaller and it's got a handle, but it's the same. Okay. Yeah. It looks kind of like that. It's got the logo. So it's a little bit smaller than this. It's a cup. Okay. So it's a mug, and it's obviously got a handle, but it's basically this color. That's the ones that we had. Oh, now we're starting to get merch ideas. There we go. All right. That's what I'm talking about. I got the creative juices flowing in the chat. All right. So forget you, Fernando tees. Hey, that okay. So the number 4 get, and then the capital U, Fernando. I like that. Forget you, Fernando. That's what I'm talking about. There you go, Carlos. Look at that. You get no royalties, but I like that. Matt said a recliner with angry eyes. I was like thinking, for Recliner of Rage to be like a mad, like you have like a little, like when little kids get mad and they sit down, they cross their arms real mad. It's like something like that, sitting in the recliner, like, all frowned up. I think that'd be hilarious. Even though my pain is no laughing matter. I don't care what y'all do. You're very cruel for doing that. Let me hit Tim up and make sure he's awake. Message this dude, Tim Steward. Ready? All right, boom. Just message him. All right. Cut the check. Yeah, okay. Yeah. How about this? Actually, no, I'm not gonna say that. Once again, my mom's watching. No. We'll just say no. We'll get you you could get a red check mark. I like to have a blue check mark on I think Twitter or whatever, and on Instagram. Yeah, we'll give you a red check mark. Say you're Garage Gym Life certified. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, so we're getting ready to shout out to the official shout out to the Central Time Zone, okay? And it's only fitting that my first guest is in the Central Time Zone, okay? I'm not sure if I can crown him Central Time Zone representative because he's not consistently here enough for me to say he's the Central Time Zone representative to my show, but he's definitely a Central Time Zone ambassador. All right, I can give him that, okay? Justin said the coffee cup is in the store still. Oh, well, there you go. All right, well, there you go. My man. So, if y'all want Garage Gym Life coffee cups, Justin, if you've got that link, do me a favor and post the link here in the chat, and then I will put it I'll go to the shopping function and see if I can add it so that it'll be available for the replay. Anyway, all right. Shout out to the Central Time Zone. If this is your first time here, thank you for joining me. I am John Greaves III. This is a Garage Gym Life production. Welcome to Up Way Too Early with Garage Gym Life. If this is your first time, make sure you hit that subscribe button to help me reach 50,000 subscribers. But regardless, I definitely need you to hit like so you can get that algorithm working for me and for you. It tells YouTube that you want to see more videos like this. Get some of those cat videos and relaxing jazz fireplace videos off your feed and get you more videos like this. And it's going to help me because it tells YouTube that people want to see this stuff. And so they'll start recommending it to more people. All right. So help me by helping yourself. Hit that like button. All right. And if you've already subscribed and you would like to support the channel in a more tangible way, as well as get early access to all of our videos, plus get access to all of our exclusive members-only content like the Chronicles of Dresden, then just go ahead and click that join button to support the channel. It's 99 cents a month, but that 99 cents a month goes a long way, and every dime of it goes back into making this channel as what I like to consider the #1 fitness morning show channel, but also more importantly, it goes a long way towards making this a channel that presents the kind of stuff that you like in a high quality manner. So go ahead and click that join button. And now we're going to go ahead and bring on my first guest of the day. Show your love, Tim. Wow.
What's happening?
That's the crowd going wild. Y'all calm down. Calm down. Yeah, calm down. Tim doesn't have a lot of time. All right.
I'm used to it. That happens everywhere I go, man.
Oh, of course. So you and Jonathan are both going to have the paparazzi because Jonathan from No Fate 24/7 is going to be at HomeGymCon
Nice.
this year. This is his inaugural visit.
Oh, that's cool. I can't wait.
He's going to come hang out with come hang out with us peasants. So we're just gonna kind of follow along in his wake, Yeah. I'm gonna sign autographs like I know Jonathan and I know Tim. That's my signature. I know Jonathan, I know Tim.
Have Jake put that on your name tag.
You know what? I would, then my name tag just gets longer and longer because I keep adding names to it. Yeah. Oh, I know Kurt too. That kind of thing. I think that's perfect.
For sure.
I think that's perfect. All right. So we got guys in the chat and we want to, Tim doesn't have a ton of time with us today, but let me go ahead and just jump right head first into this thing. So first of all, you started a podcast. I mentioned it, but you started a podcast since I last had you on. So talk a little bit about what the podcast is about and also how's it going.
So it's actually going surprisingly good. When I did a bunch of research before I started it, most podcast gurus out there will tell you that your first 10 to 50 episodes are going to get 0 views. And for me to start off with a bunch of episodes over 1,000 views, and the first episode I think got 500 or 600. So I've been humbled by the fact that people want to tune in and watch my big bald head talk for a half hour at a time. So it's been really cool.
Did you notice an uptick when you started wearing shorts in your videos?
A little bit, yeah.
Does it say if you
the
show
shorter they are, the more views I get?
Yeah, so. I say if you show a little leg. You get okay, cool. All
my long skinny chicken legs.
It's so funny because like the podcast experts say this and that, But a lot of the podcast experts are like, and I don't know if expert is a good way to well, they know more than me, but they cut their teeth on podcasts in the audio version.
Right.
And I think that when you do your podcast on YouTube, that changes the game because YouTube is pushing, like they're trying to compete. Right. So I think that helps out a little bit too. And then of course your subject matter, I think has plays a big role too. Have you seen an uptick in terms of your subscriber count, or is it more like you're just able to engage with a lot of people, which is good too? Because it's not all about just subscribers.
So it's interesting because the statistics that I look at on YouTube, 75% of the people that watch the podcast are not subscribed. So it's been interesting to see, what it might take to get people to subscribe. And I think that that's just consistent, good content over time. There's a lot of podcasts that I found, whether it's audio only or video, where they do, they're gung ho for 10 episodes and then they disappear. So I think that once you prove you're going to be around for a while and that you actually have something interesting to talk about. I didn't launch the podcast till I had 100 episodes planned out. So I wanted to make sure I didn't run out of anything. So that's 2 years at one a week. So some of them are stinkers. So I won't do the whole 100 that I planned, but I wanted to have a solid plan going in because I didn't want to be one of those guys who started and then just disappeared. There's nothing worse than getting involved in a podcast and then looking at the date of the last show and it's 4 years ago. And you go, oh, why did I even bother? So I think just the consistency will help a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of have that thing too. It's like because I only do one. I have like a plan for 52 episodes. No, 50 episodes. That's right. I said before you start, you should have 50 episodes. This is what I did before I started my YouTube channel. I had 50 episodes planned. And that way I was like, I can, what if I want to take 2 weeks off for Christmas or whatever, for something. Nobody's going to flinch if you take a week off here and there. You just can't take 4 weeks off. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I did. And then it's also another thing about it is like, if you have the episodes planned out and your content is evergreen, because that's the biggest thing for me. Is like, if you plan out that many episodes in the future, they have to be evergreen. So no matter when they come out, they've got to kind of like make sense. Right. But then you're going to have topical things come up too. So you can just say, okay, well, this evergreen thing, I can push it off down the road because I've got this thing that's timely that I can talk about. And that's happened multiple times, even with this, people, well, I guess when people who know me aren't surprised, but every show I end up with stuff that I had planned on talking about that I ran out of time. I didn't have time to talk about. Right. Which is and I just push it to the next week. Right. What's been your most listened to episode so far?
So the most listened to episode is do you have everything you need to make your garage gym an enjoyable place to be? So that one took off right away. And I'm with you. The evergreen stuff. That's why I'm doing the series that I'm doing. I got a bunch more series planned out. Is I really want the podcast to serve as something that sits there in time, and that people, as they build garage gyms, can find it as a resource and then go, hey, it's time for me to do this part of the garage gym build. And then I'll have a series available for them to listen to. So I think the evergreen stuff is super important. But yeah, the 8 things. And I'm noticing so I'm kind of a contrarian. I think that's one of the reasons you and I get along a little bit like we do, is that.
Who told you you're a contrarian?
Not you. But I think, unfortunately, the podcast gurus that we talk about, they talk about the importance of titles and thumbnails and things like that. And as much as I want to resist it, the 8 mistakes that are this and the 12 things that are that, like those types of, they just naturally get more views. And because of that, I don't want to do them because everybody else does them. But I think I've got to find a way to balance, because whenever I do one, I did that. My second most listened to episode is 8 common garage gym mistakes. So of course, I hate making that just because I feel so cheesy. But if I've got 8 mistakes to talk about, that's why it's 8 and not 10. But it's so there's got to be a balance there. But I think people, there's a lot of content on gear, and there's very little content on building the gym itself. And that's something I've always tried to make sure that I have a good mix of mixed in there is, you know, what color to paint your gym, the flooring, the air conditioning, the heating, the music, you know, I did a reel on Instagram yesterday about the screen door on the front of my garage. I think a lot of people really want to know more about how to do that stuff. So it's you know, and the thing is it doesn't, there's no affiliate links involved in that. There's no income involved in that. That's truly just doing it to just be a help to the community. And that's why I started doing what I do in the first place. It's you know, you and I have talked a lot about a Google killing our sites and everything. And what I realized was I said, okay, God, what are you trying to tell me? Right. And I think one of the lessons that I was supposed to learn is stop building sites and videos for algorithms and really take a step back and go, what can you do to add to the community? If you really add to the community and you really truly help people, then people will find you. Now, maybe not as fast as everybody else. Like if every one of my episodes was 50 ways not to screw up your garage gym, you know, sure, I would grow faster, but I really think it's important to add a lot to the community. And that's one of the things I enjoy about the people that I follow, and something that I try and do is to really grow together as a community and shout out other channels and shout out other places to go and shout out other resources. And I really enjoy pointing people towards Instagram pages that I like to follow. And again, none of that stuff pays, right? None of that stuff has an affiliate program. None of that stuff, you know, sends you a check at the end of every month. But it's something. I mean,
we'll take money if you want to send me money for recommending your Instagram.
Yes.
Hey, I'll give you my Cash App. But
yeah, for sure.
But yeah.
So that's kind of the deal so far. You know, it's been difficult to find things that a lot of people will listen to up front. And, you know, as you know, YouTube revenue, you know, might buy you a new pair of shoelaces every month.
Potentially.
That's about it.
Potentially.
Yeah.
I mean, so here's the thing too. So I saw all right, I'm a competitive guy, right? So whenever part of the thing for me that makes me not want to do stuff that other people have done is because as soon as I see that somebody has done something, if they did it first, I don't want to do it, right? Just like you. Yeah. But then if I do it and then they do it, immediately I'm like, okay, how did I do compared to them, right?
Yeah.
And so yes, that means I go and I check. So I remember years ago I did a garage door screen video, right? And that's what made your video like stand out to me when I saw you. I said, hey, okay. So and it's not necessarily like I'm mad if your video does well, but then it's like, okay, well, how did he do this that I didn't do? Or is it a case of just the fact that at this point in terms of the life cycle of his business or his people being aware of him, this is like the best time for him to come out with it? Did I come out with my video at a time when people weren't receptive to it? You know, the people were following me, maybe they were where it was cold, you know?
No, for sure.
Because I remember like for a while there, most of the people who were following me were in Australia for some reason, right? Well, they're completely flip-flop from me, you know, from us here in the States. So it's like it's cold there, whereas it's warm here in most parts of the States, right? So the thing for me is like, so you have the advantage of knowing how to do SEO, whereas I'm learning how to do SEO. And to me, it's always like, you got to strike a balance between knowing how to get your message out effectively and not making stuff for the sake of algorithms, as you said. So yeah. That being said, I brought you on because I am enjoying one of your podcast topics, which is how to pick a power rack. So without going through all of the videos, because I want people to still watch the video, the video series, let's take it a little bit different, in a different direction. And I want you to tell me, what are the top 3 questions you ask people when they ask you for advice in picking a power rack? Because you can't just say, oh, yeah, well, I guess you could. But ethically, you don't just give recommendations. You have to ask some questions first. So like, hey, I need a power rack. Which one should I get? So then I always ask people questions like, okay, well, so what are your questions that you ask when somebody wants advice for picking a power rack?
Number 1 with the bullet is, how do you like to train? And if you don't know how you like to train, then why do you want a power rack in the first place? Like, what do you think that's going to add to your gym? Because I think that, you know, how you like to train, first of all, determines what gear should go in your gym. I think a lot of people, what they try and do is they try and recreate the commercial gym that they used to work in. I mean, the number of people that I talk to who don't even think about a power rack first way outnumbers the people who ask what power rack to buy. You know, they're all about, well, can I get a leg curl machine? And can I get a preacher bench? You know, and it's like, dude, you're not trying to recreate, you're not trying to recreate your commercial gym. And B, if you've never trained, you know, and we all grew up at a time where if you went into a gym and if you were lucky enough for them to even have a power rack, it was covered in an inch of dust and there were no plates to use on it, you know? So, or the barbell was like this just piece of junk that the sleeves didn't spin. And so, you know, it's great to see more people seeing the value in barbell training. But I think that's the first thing is how do you like to train? The second one is, what are your goals in building a garage gym? Because for me, one of the biggest disservices that the fitness industry has done to people, it might be the biggest disservice, is convincing them that cardio is the way to lose weight. And it's just like, if you only knew the power of building some muscle in your weight loss journey, and if you knew the power of just raw barbell training, just basic movements and building just strength, just overall full body strength in helping you achieve your goals. So if I can get somebody to understand how much a power rack will help them lose weight, there's a light bulb that goes on that it's really fun to watch, and to watch them really kind of dive into it. So how you're going to train, how do you like to train? And then just, you know, how have you trained in the past? Like, what have you done in the past? What have you enjoyed? What have you not enjoyed? Because as we all know, you can build the best garage gym in the world. If you don't use it, it's worthless. So, you know, as much as I don't like these all-in-one trainers that I've been testing lately, what I realized is that a huge number of people love those and will go in and train on one of those every day, and will not go in and train on a squat rack every day. So that's why I've jumped into this category, is that, you know, I'm not going to fight this crowd because I'm not going to win. So let me at least try and help people pick out ones that are good, or at least not terrible, which is kind of what I found so far, is you got to fight against what's the least terrible one you can get. But so that's, you know, that's a few of the questions that I'm running into. And that's why I want to build the long series on squat racks is I think the more you can walk people through how to pick a good one, the more they'll end up using it more often.
It's interesting to me, like you said, like the all-in-one trainers. I absolutely hate Smith machines.
Yes.
With a passion. Right? Yep. And I mean, don't get me wrong. There are things that you can do on a Smith machine more effectively, more efficiently than you can on anything else. But those things for me don't outweigh the reasons why I don't like Smith machines, right? So if I had one at all, it would be a separate piece. It would be a piece separate from my power rack.
Yes.
So, right, I'd have the power rack, and then the Smith machine would be like kind of over here, and I would only go over there to do these specific exercises, right?
Yep.
So I can't stand the trend. But to me, it's one of those things, it's like do you think that it's kind of like just an outgrowth of people trying to just add more and more stuff to a power rack? I wonder what all we can put on it, because I mean, if you let's just rewind 7 years and take a power rack from 7 years ago and compare it to a power rack today, and just like see how much things have changed. And I don't know necessarily if they've changed for the better. I just know that they've changed. Man,
it's weird because, you know, until 5 minutes ago, the fitness community as a whole spent their entire life just dumping on Smith machines. You couldn't find a trainer or a gym or a home gym person that had anything good to say about a Smith machine, right? And now 5 minutes ago, all of a sudden, they're the best thing since sliced bread.
And I'm like, whose idea was this?
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Well, you know what it is? When I talk to people, I get it. Like, I get it now. Like, I had a light bulb moment myself. So there's basically a few reasons people like the Smith machines. First and foremost, your average person who lifts at home is very concerned about safety. And there's a perception that Smith machines are safer. They're not. In fact, I've found that they're not safe because people stop thinking about form, because you can be so sloppy in a Smith machine A very close second to that is ego. I can't tell you the number of people, and I'm just like, it's not about the number on the bar, but you can. I've talked to some people like, oh, I can bench 250, and then you get them under just a bar and not in a Smith machine, and you're like, you can't come anywhere close to 250, dude. And it's like there's so much more involved in lifting with the barbell than a Smith machine, but it makes people feel good about themselves. It's kind of like the leg press. I can put every 45 in the gym on the leg press and feel great.
Get my buddies to stand on it. Yeah.
Right. So there's an ego component involved too. So I think those two things. And then, Jake from Garage Gym Experiment really, because he likes the Smith machine, and I think he's got a really good reason for it, and he's got 2 great points that I want to call out because he's super smart about this stuff. Is first of all, he said the speed at which he can work out on a Smith machine, and that's 100% right. You can go in and be training on a Smith machine faster than anything else. You just pop a couple weights on and away you go. You don't have to set safeties. You don't have to set J hooks. You don't have to do what you just get in and work out. And the second thing, which I'm seeing as I'm building out my gym, he has got a great case for, and this is how I'm going to build my gym, and I wasn't planning on this. There's a great case for having just a bare power rack that's got nothing on it, and then having another rack or another all-in-one trainer that has all of the other, like you just said, that has all of that other stuff on it. You put your cable system over there, you put your Smith machine over there, you put your, whatever you want to put, your bulletproof, stuff, whatever it happens to be. But like I'm part of the reason I'm doing this series is I'm selfish. I'm in the process of buying a power rack, and this series has really helped me figure out what I want for my gym. And that's where I'm going. The first thing I'm buying is I can't wait to just get back into just a 4 or a 6 post rack and just lift like God intended us to, with just me and a rack and a barbell, and that's it. I miss that so much.
Man, hey, shout out to we got some people just join us here. Shout out to 619 Driver. Says good morning from San Diego. Hey, my man, I appreciate you being here.
Man, it's early
man, I think this is your first time, man. I really appreciate you jumping on the show. Let's see here. Michael Vaudrey is an inventor. Our guy Mike San Diego says he's very impressed. It's way too early for him, right? It's, hey, and then I know Carp is here. There we go. Yeah, Coach Carp says good morning, fellas. Got the coffee in his got the coffee emoji. That's funny because they were talking about I should have like the Garage Gym Life coffee mugs or whatever. They're on the store. They're on the site. So you guys can find them. Justin's supposed to be putting the link in the chat for me, and I'm gonna put the link in the description for everybody who's watching on replay. But Carp said that's the kind of setup that the setup that you're talking about. He says Sean Donaldson has a main power rack, then an accessory and attachments rack. So the thing for me with that is, again, for me it's space, right. But the advantage of doing that, though, is if my wife we have a functional trainer attached to the rack, and my wife needs to use it, and I need to squat or whatever, then we're gonna kind of get in each other's way. But for me, it's like our gym doesn't have all that, doesn't have the space for all that. So I've got room for one. Well, I could put another rack, but if I put another rack, now I don't have anywhere to hang my heavy bag. Now I have to figure out, where am I going to do any sort of floor work? Meaning like, stretching, whatever, stuff like that. I just I'll sacrifice all that space for the sake of having this extra rack. So I know there are ways to do it. And I've thought about that, but for me, it's like, I like having the rack, and then I actually like the idea of having a standalone kind of like maybe functional trainer, or like the Bells of Steel. They've got like that attachment, not an attachment. It's like the lat pull down with the CDF. Yeah, that there's those things. That's right, single stack. You just put it over there, and you have somewhere to to put it where it's not in the way. I kind of like that idea as well. Let's see here. We got a couple more. Sean O'Rourke said he's coming across more uses for the Smith after following some bodybuilding channels. He'll be tempted by the upcoming Bell's drop-in attachment if the price and reviews are good. I mean, so if I already had a Smith, well, okay, let me back up. So in a previous life, I worked in a public gym. They had a Smith machine. And the exact thing you're talking about, where people came in there and they started wanting to lift on the Smith machine because it's counterbalanced, so you can lift more weight on it, as you said, right?
Yep.
And what I thought was hilarious is the first Smith machine that we got for the gym wasn't counterbalanced. So it was the same weight, but it was a fixed bar path, right? So everybody gets on there and you can see them, they're like, yeah, I like that other one better. I don't like this one. I'm like, of course not, because it's not counterbalanced. You can't feed your ego, right? But I just don't like it because I recognize that, let's say when it's a squat, you want the bar to move in a straight line. I get it. So technically, yeah, if I squat on the Smith machine, the bar's going to move in a straight line. But the difference is it's dragging your body in a straight line. So you're not building the muscle memory and the muscle, the underlying muscle tissue that allows you to squat in a straight line correctly. So there's basically very little carryover to the real world, you know? And so I just don't like it.
It's a good compliment. It's a great compliment to barbell training. And that's one of the things about these all-in-ones. I just went to a store and filmed some content on 3 of the Force USA machines. And one of the things I liked about theirs is they've got 1-inch hole spacing across the front of the rack. So you can actually do barbell work. I think if you're going to do barbell work and use the Smith as an accessory, like Carp said in the comments there, he said it's great.
So like the Smith on one side and the power.
Yeah, it's great for that extra. It's also great for extra volume. Like I found it's really good to get extra volume without having to just exhaust your whole body under a barbell. I like it for drop sets for like overhead presses. There's definitely some things I'm finding uses for it that I wouldn't have thought of before, but it's definitely not something I would buy first. It's something I would buy probably last.
So one of my favorite Smith machine exercise that's actually, it's almost impossible to do in anything else, is a mechanical drop set for burnout set for triceps. So basically you're doing, it's almost like skull crushers, but your body's the weight, right? And so you put your body at where you have the least mechanical advantage. And as you start to fatigue, you just raise the level of the bar up higher until you're probably standing up and just doing this, right? But it's a huge burnout. It's one of those, I think Brandon Curry, I think was the bodybuilder that I saw do it. And I said, oh man, that's a really good idea. And then I had a buddy who was competing on a bodybuilding show and he was there and I saw him. So I met him. I said, I say, hey man, look, I love that idea. And he said, yeah, man. He said, man, it blows your triceps up, but I can't use it. I can't do anything else. I've tried other things like, okay, well, I'll start out on the floor, then I'll go to the top of a kettlebell handle, then go to, my dumbbell rack. There's nothing that substitutes for it. So let's see. 619 driver says the channel popped up on his feed. Oh, and he says, consider me a new subscriber. My man, thank you so much. I appreciate that, man. Welcome to the family, dude. Thank you. Now, while you're doing that, here's what I need you to do. I need you to subscribe to Gym Crafter on YouTube as well. Because Tim, my guest right here, he's got some awesome stuff. He's got the Power Rack series, and you're really going to enjoy it. So you definitely check it out. Let's see here. We got some more comments. The Smith machine thing. It's like, it's got some, we got people with some opinions here. Okay, so first of all, the coffee mug. So you want the coffee mug to say best gym in town? I could be talked into that. All right. So Jake must have heard you say his name, as he says he loves having a Smith machine as an accessory or secondary option. I think Smith machines got so much hate because they were the only option in places like Planet Fitness. Well, I mean, I remember when Planet Fitness started, but we hated Smith machines before that because they came out before that. And so when I said I was working in the public gym, I mean, this is 1996, 97. Well, I worked there from 95 to 2000 to 2001. And I saw people like Paul Chek talking about how the Smith machine was a bad idea because it was, it wasn't, it had limited functional carryover to real life. The point of lifting weights or the point of training is to get you ready for life. Yes, there are people who lift basically for aesthetics, but you're still trying to, look a certain way. Well, it's still kind of getting you ready for, life, right? And so the Smith machine just so we were basically saying that it's a bad idea way back then, back in the dark ages in the 20th century. Let's see here. Matt says, I need a bigger gym. I think space is such a big issue. Say he's tempted to rent out an industrial unit.
Aren't we all?
Yeah, dude, here's the thing, man. I'm gonna tell you like this. So, like I said, for some reason, like I said, I worked in a public gym. The gym was huge, and we kept having to get rid of equipment or turn down equipment, or say people would say, "Hey, can you guys get this?" We don't have space for it. Just no matter how much space you have. Remember at the beginning of the show, I said they've got people at the factory and their only job is to make equipment. So every day they show up and they make equipment. Okay, you're never going to have enough space to keep up with the equipment that's going to be coming out, because, you know, the people who make equipment are going to keep making it, and the people who try to sell you equipment, they're going to keep on trying to sell you equipment.
Yep.
Let's see. 619 driver said, my thought process for picking a rack is like choosing a home. I like that.
Yep.
Said pick a huge lot of land and add as you need,
or
buy a condo and just be happy with what you have. He said, I like the idea of being able to add. I love that analogy.
Yeah,
actually, that's really good. I like that.
Yeah, it's a great analogy.
You get one of these, my man. I like that.
Woo! No, that's a mic drop.
There you go. All right. Let's see here now. You said coordinated effort with free weights. Yeah. So your body has to work kind of like as the way it's designed to. Yeah, I like that. Joey said Jake hears everything. He's always lurking. Said, didn't Planet Fitness get founded in the 70s? I don't know. I've been to Planet Fitness once because I was handing out flyers and they weren't very responsive. They were nice, but they weren't very responsive. Yeah, I know I'm old. I just had a birthday too. And then Matt said that he loves Smith machines because it lets him know who not to talk to in the gym. That's funny right there. That's that strongman bias.
I like that.
All right. So this is my shout out. I wanted to do this. I've seen him a couple of times commenting on your videos, right? So shout out to Bobby Hunt. All right. So Bobby, if you end up watching this, shout out to you, right?
Hey, Bobby.
I've seen him comment on several of your videos. He's commented on several of my videos, but within a very specific topic area, because he has a hate. That's what I call it, a hate relationship with all budget power racks.
Yep.
So if you're watching this and you're a content creator, or Carp, Kurt, if you guys happen to do any sort of video review of a budget power rack of any kind, especially if it's from Major Fitness or if it's from Makolo, Bobby is going to comment, right? But in any case, so he was saying basically he's tired of seeing you need to stop commenting. You need to stop doing reviews of budget stuff, right? Yeah. And I'm like, but Bobby, first of all, you only comment on the budget power rack. So I don't see why you want him to stop making the stuff that you love. You love to comment on. But what was interesting to me is that within that comment, you mentioned that, I want to make sure I get this right. You said that your Major Fitness Smith machine combo is starting to round out of square.
Yep.
That is no bueno.
Nope.
So let's dig into that. How long into owning the rack were you when you noticed that it was starting to round out like that?
2 months.
2 months.
Yeah, I noticed it first because as the Smith machine hit the safeties, it would hit one side before it hit the other side. Yeah. And then before long, it was hitting one side like an inch before the other side, and then an inch and a half before the other side. And I'm like, this thing's starting to lean. And I went through and all the bolts are tightened. And it's partially because I get a lot of comments, and I'm sure you too. They're like, well, what about this other 14 gauge steel one? And there's all these brands out there that people are, because whatever somebody has, to them, it's the best. So they get into forums and things like that. And they're like, the Makolo is the best. And they want validation. Yeah, they don't want to think they didn't buy the best one. So whatever they have is the best. So people ask about those all the time. And what I'm realizing is that most the 14 gauge steel is a problem. The other problem with the Major Fitness stuff is when I was putting it together versus the RitFit, which has not started to do that. The more I use the RitFit, the more I really think if you're gonna pigeonhole yourself into a budget piece, they're the better choice of all the ones I've tried so far. But when you put together the Major Fitness, every hole is oval and not round, because the tolerances are so bad that you can't tighten the bolt as you assemble it. You have to leave every bolt loose until the whole thing's together.
They had that in the instructions. Is that
every page.
Everything. Don't
Yeah.
tighten it yet. Don't tighten it till you get to the
Right.
very end. Yeah,
So I
definitely.
think as you rack and re-rack and as weights go up and down, that those bolts are sliding around those ovals and not keeping everything the way that it should be. Because like I said, the Rit Fit, which is only a 2x2 versus the Major, which is 2x3, the Rit Fit's fine. Like it's not as pretty. It's an ugly rack, you know, and the powder coat's not great and it's all scratched up. But as far as function goes, as far as a budget piece, it's actually really solid.
Yeah.
But it's you know, and the other thing too is on Major Fitness, both on the leg press and on the Smith machine, instead of using solid steel guide rods, they're using hollow tubing. So what happens is as you get weight on it, like the leg press, this happens at about 500 pounds. And then on the Smith machine, it happens at like 70 pounds, is those guide rods start to flex. And then things just kind of start moving along with those guide rods. And as there's that extra flex, the thing just isn't rigid. And the less rigid it is, the more chance it has to have stress in areas it's not supposed to have. But yeah, I really don't like the Major Fitness one at all. It's just, it's not good for a variety of reasons. Although they are sending me a weight stack for it, so I can have something else to find a problem with.
They're relentless, man. They're like,
well, it should tell you what the margin is and what the quality is by how much free stuff they can send out. Like, you know, that's just, and there's other companies like Force USA, which I really appreciate. They were just flat out. They're like, we don't send anybody anything. They're like, if you want to try it, it's in this store. Go try it at this store, but we're not sending you anything. So that's why you don't see them every place. And I really like the Force USA stuff was solid, man. The Force USA stuff was a great palate cleanser from what's in my gym right now.
Yeah, I actually wish specifically about Force USA. They're one of the brands that I wish I had been able to see at HomeGymCon. I just, you know how it was. So they're actually, that actually relates to something I'm going to ask you later, but we're going to talk about it now. Is like, I've got a punch list of brands who I wanted to talk to and I didn't get to talk to. And I've made a point, like I'm going to go over to their booth. I don't care if I got to go there the day I get there. I'm making sure I go to their booth to spend time talking to them and finding out more about their brand. When Force USA is on that list. But Ashley, shout out to 332. She did that Force USA tour. And so she's got a bunch of stuff from when she visited up there. So everybody go check out Ashley the Amazing on YouTube. And you'll be able to see all her posts about the Force USA visit.
Jake made an introduction for me, and I would tell you that the guy that I've talked to over there has been fantastic. You always know, because my contact over there, when I went to film, he's like, okay, let's jump on a call. I want to know what you thought. Like they really want to know what the people who use their stuff think. Yeah. And you're seeing as the garage gym space goes, there's a distinct difference between people who have engineers design their stuff and
people who lift
design.
Oh,
like,
heck yeah.
That's such a huge difference.
Like I've got this is such a simple thing, but I've got 2 weight trees, or 3, but I've got 2, the triangle plate trees in my gym. And one of them is obviously designed by people who don't lift because you can't take the 45s off with one hand. Whereas, you know what I'm saying? It's like when you try to pull it, it drags on the horn because of the angle of the horn. And I said, well, anybody who lifts has been in enough situations where you want to just grab it with one hand, and it's not even like a strength issue. Is you just want to be able to grab it with one hand and drag it off of there, right? Because you might have another plate in the other hand. Whereas the one that I'm like, oh, this one is the one that I like. It's like you can just slide it off with one hand. It doesn't bind. And again, that's like, you can tell one of them was made by somebody who's an engineer and just says, oh, well, this is the spec and we'll just follow this diagram or whatever. The thing that I was going to say about Major Fitness, I was trying to figure out how to phrase it. It's like, so basically they try to trap you in their ecosystem. Right. So if you say yes to one review, to one product, they send it to you, they want you to keep it, and then they're going to send you something else because then what they want to do is they want to show, and I'm not mad at them for this, but they want to show like how all their stuff goes together. And they said it to me in the email, basically. So it's not like any kind of, this isn't giving away any like contractual stuff, but it's like, they said, basically, we want to show how our equipment works together to give you a complete workout, which actually I think that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But like I said, they try to trap you in their ecosystem.
I think that's one of the reasons why they use 2x3 uprights, not because it's more stable, but because it's odd.
Yeah, so then you can't use anything else.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. So Matt has a question. He said, are you sure it's the rack that's ovaled and that it hasn't just caused an imbalance? So it's you hitting the safeties one side an inch early.
I'll give you another example. So when you look at the top of the J hooks and you look at the top of the spotter arms, when I first got it, the knurl pattern of the bar, because they don't use UHMW, so the knurl just like sinks into this stuff. And it was even across the top of these safeties. And now when I set the bar down, the wear is only on one edge of each one. So the rack is, and if I pull out my carpenter square, the squares aren't.
Yeah.
You know, it's the level, the top's not level. It's definitely bending over time. It's not good.
It's funny, like you said, carpenter square, right? And I started thinking, like, how much stuff have I purchased just because I do reviews of equipment, like random tools from Home Depot. Oh yeah, check the gauge of steel because they'll tell you anything, and you're like, yeah, okay, let's just check it. Okay. So Michael Vodre said user experience is key. That's correct.
100%.
And it said, and he said that the thing about Major Fitness is they sound like Apple. Yeah, they want you to like stay in there. And I get it. The thing is, I prefer the other way where like you make stuff like Crandall Fitness. I'm a big fan of theirs. Crandall Fitness makes stuff that fits with other brands, right? Bells of Steel does this a little bit too. It's like, as long as it fits these dimensions, it'll work with their stuff. They don't try to trap you, you know. And to me, that's a whole lot better because if I know, let's say I already have a power rack, but I want to get Bells of Steel stuff because maybe you've got, so like I've got, for example, I've got the Seal Row pad from them, right? Well, I don't have a Bells of Steel rack, but it still fits on my every rack I've used it with so far. And so I think that that's just a much better approach. Sean said Force USA products at HomeGymCon were buttery smooth. He said the hack squat leg press combo fit a 6'2" guy fine. They made a big impression. The thing I like about Force USA, first of all, shout out to them for being the first ones to come out with the trainer, with the functional trainer. But also, like they're lifters. And I think that they have a very home gym focused brand where some brands, not like Rogue and to a certain extent, I think Mayhem also, they have more of a commercial gym, but you can use it at home type of approach. All right, Tim, let's make sure we get to the rest of these questions so I can get you out of here. First of all, Matt said you're strong enough that your power rack is failing you. So shout out to you. Look at you.
I like that story. We're going to go with that.
We drug testing Tim right after this. All right.
I'm too strong for the rack, baby.
That's it. So everybody, and me included, you know, I'm guilty of this. Like we dog out the Amazon brands because they have low quality equipment. But I have gotten stuff from Amazon that, you know, to just kind of like fill in the nooks and crannies here and there, you know. So that stuff obviously still sells, or else Amazon wouldn't keep stocking it in their store on their platform. So what are your tips for buying gym equipment from Amazon and not kind of getting, like, basically not getting in trouble? Because there's some stuff that I think you can get on Amazon, you're fine.
So if you're buying accessories, if you want to buy a pair of fat grips, you want a pair of lockjaw collars, I think it's fine. Other than that, I feel like just an enabler if I say buy something. I just don't think you should. I think if you're going to buy a rack or a barbell or weights, and there's two things you can buy the stuff that's only sold on Amazon, which definitely is a no-go. But even when you're buying stuff like Titan on Amazon or Rep Fitness on Amazon, because a lot of the stuff is still sold on Amazon too, because, you know, I used to work in an industry where we sold from our store, we sold on Amazon. And it's literally, the owner was like, it's like getting hooked on heroin. He's like, it's great because you put something on Amazon and it just sells at a rate that's insane. Nothing you could ever do on your own site. So, but the problem is it costs you 12 to 18% of the price of the product for the privilege of selling on Amazon. So I always feel bad. Like if you're going to buy Rep Fitness, buy it from Rep Fitness. If you're going to buy Titan, buy it from Titan, because you're literally giving Amazon a large portion of that company's profits that they could reinvest into R&D, in better customer service, better distribution. You're literally taking money out of the company's pocket for no other reason than just the convenience of buying it on Amazon at the same time that you buy some diapers and some food. It's just much better to buy directly from the company. The other thing that I think that is a problem is, and this is one of the reasons I started doing Gymcrafter in the first place, if you type into Google, the good old Googles, what's the best squat rack, there is just a litany, an unending list of websites that are Amazon affiliates who will tell you that the 10 best squat racks can all be bought on Amazon. So when you're inundated by that number of reviews that all say buy this, whatever, this X mark on Amazon, it's just that people end up, there's just this wave of just information that just points you to convenience and things. But for me, honestly, I'm to the point now where I don't want to be an enabler. I don't want to be that person who's like, oh, just have one more hit. It's no problem. No, you shouldn't be buying this stuff on Amazon. Period. End of story. I don't think that there's an exception.
So only a couple more questions and I'll let you get out of here. I love that you shouted out Our Home Gym, because I agree. I think it's a great place to go find out information. They are and most of the people on there don't care about notoriety. At least not as far as I can tell. Some of them don't have any other social media. They just go on Reddit and hang out in Our Home Gym with each other, but they love answering questions. And so I just want to make sure I say that too, that's a great place if people are just they're looking for quick advice. But I want to know, basically, you've got are you still doing 5-Minute Fridays?
So when I have a topic, I don't want to make them just to make them. So
okay.
I don't have anything. I haven't done one recently, but
so it's basically the podcast.
The podcast is
I'm trying
to do 1 to 2 product reviews a week as well. I'm backlogged on product reviews.
Okay.
I'm right now I'm doing the podcast on Monday, and then on Thursdays I'm releasing some type of a product review or product overview or something like that.
Gotcha. Okay. So this Jake is coming on right after you to talk about Garage Gym games. So I'll go ahead and I'll just throw it out to you around. What are your thoughts about having a hybrid athlete competition centered around the Garage Gym concept?
So speaking of Garage Gym athletes, I don't know if you did this already because I just joined right before I jumped on, but congratulations to Kurt from the Kurt Locker for winning the most fit veteran strongman contest he just entered, which was awesome. And congrats to the dude who won bronze at the Olympics, who trains only in his garage gym. I'm gonna try to. I'm trying to get in touch with him, because I follow Travis Mash. Travis Mash follows me, and I'm gonna see if I can. And Travis Mash knows him, and I'm gonna see if I can get him, because I would love. Yeah, definitely. That's so huge, because you and I remember back when people thought that if you had a home gym, you just weren't serious. And that if you were really serious, you would go to a public gym. Right. Like you care about your family too much. You want to spend time with your family instead of going to the gym to get whatever, man. So I think, so I definitely wanted that. But so as far as the competition, this would be a brand new competition. Yeah, I think it's an awesome idea.
Okay. Well, that's a good, quick, a good, quick endorsement of it. So there you go, Jake. So Joyce said that she likes she said her first Smith machine experience was due to safety features and yes, feeling more powerful. But she said, I know now how risky that was. Free the weights.
Yes.
100%.
That's a t-shirt right there.
Free the weights. Yeah. Yep. So I'm gonna go ahead and let you go now, but let's say somebody wants advice about picking a power rack, Tim. How can they get in touch with you? I've got I know that there's Gymcrafter on Instagram, and of course, I mentioned I want everybody here to subscribe to Gymcrafter on YouTube. You're doing gymcrafter.com. If somebody just wants to get in touch with you, they're like, hey, I got a question. What's the easiest way for them to get the fastest response?
So tim@gymcrafter.com is my email. And then I answer all comments every day on YouTube. So if you just want to drop a comment, I love those because it serves, if you've got the question, so does somebody else. So I love answering the comments. It really is a nice resource for people, but either one of those ways is great.
Nice. Well, my man, I appreciate it. And I promise to get you out of here 45 after. It is now 45 after. So
I appreciate it, man.
Man, thank you for taking time to come and share some of your information. And I'll put if you got any links for anything that you have coming up, or whatever, send them to me, and I will add them to the description for this video to like directly send people to it. Or if you even come back and you want to drop a comment on the video with like a link to one of your videos or something, that's fine as well. Okay.
Sounds good, man.
100%, man. Have a good day, dude.
Take it easy.
All right, man. All right. So that was my guy, Tim Steward from Gym Crafter. Tim is one of the coolest dudes I know, and one of the most knowledgeable people I know, as far as putting together a home gym. What I really love about his approach isn't just that he takes his time with checking out equipment when he's doing the reviews and stuff. He doesn't just do an unboxing, but like Joe Gray from Gray Matter Lifting also does this, and he's the first person I saw do this. But Tim will have a piece of equipment, and then he will take time with it and then come back and say, hey, this is, so you guys saw what I thought when I unboxed it. This is what I think after using it for 30 days, 90 days, whatever, right? And so I try to do that as well, but he does a much better job of it. And he's also does a much better job of keeping his website up. All right. That's something that I need to get back to doing. But, you know, shout out to Tim for doing that. So you guys make sure you're checking him out on YouTube, on Instagram, and at gymcrafter.com. My next guest is going to be Jake, and we're going to be talking about HomeGymCon, getting an update for HomeGymCon, and then also the Garage Gym Games. But before we do that, let me go ahead and do some cleanup on the chat. So Joey Echeverria said that Force USA has great stuff, but it's hard to navigate the products since so many look similar. You know what? That is a good point. Like the G20, I even asked Ashley, I was like, she said she liked I don't remember if she liked the G20 or she liked the another G series rack. But I was like, they look the same to me. What's the difference? And she's like, well, it's basically the height. And, you know, it's one of those things that you can't tell the difference if you're not in person with it, looking at it. So I do agree with that. Carlos said, I bought the Ultra Fuego power cage from Amazon because of his living situation and the price. And he said he's still using it. Yeah, I mean, you can do that. My thing about racks on Amazon is if I don't know the company, I'm always like, and this goes back to David Dennis. Shout out to David Dennis from Gorilla Strength. When I was talking to him about the difference in the different kinds of steels, and he was like, he pointed out, like, you know, just because a rack says it's, let's say they say it's 14 gauge steel, that doesn't mean that it's made out of structural steel. So it may not be the same quality steel as steel that's here in the U.S. And USA steel, steel from the United States, is definitely higher quality than steel from China. And that's just because of, for one thing, it's our classification system for the types of steel, as well as basically the fact that over here we have a lot stricter adherence to the ANSI standard, or stricter adherence to a standard, period. There's a little bit more flexibility in other countries. And so when those countries put some piece of equipment on Amazon, you don't know until you get it to your house that this thing, whether this thing is safe enough for you or not. So you buy it, you're trusting these people you don't know, it comes to your house, and then you don't find out that it's going to fold under you until it's too late because you already put weight on it, and it's going to, and it's already gotten you hurt. So that's my only problem that I have with stuff like that. But I mean, like I was telling Tim, I buy stuff from Amazon all the time. In fact, I remember when I was doing the review of the Makolo power cage, the J hooks they sent me, I just thought were stupid. So I ordered another pair of just random low budget J hooks off of Amazon. They showed up the next day. I think they were like Yes for All brand or something like that. And they showed up the next day, and I was able to use them for benching. But for that, the thing that I have to do, just side note, anytime I do a review of a rack that's an Amazon rack or it's a budget rack, one of the things I do is I intentionally will restrict the amount of weight that I'm going to use. in whatever exercises I'm doing in that rack as a way to keep myself safe, right? So on the one hand, it helps me cycle my training and it saves my joints because I'm not lifting near my, at my maximum capability all of the time. But on the other hand, it kind of can screw up, me getting to my goals, because if I say, all right, I plan to be lifting, I plan out my workouts, right? A few months at a time. So if I say, well, the plan is to be lifting in this kind of general range around this time, and the rack that I have at the time won't support it, then that kind of screws things up for me and it slows down my progress. And I don't have, as I mentioned to Tim, I don't have a big enough space to have 2 racks at the same time because I'm going to be sacrificing other things. Plus, my wife uses the gym too. So she's got to have space to put her, to do her workouts. So yeah, it's just one of those things. Matt says, I have a friend who just set up his home gym. He said, it took me so long to convince him not to get an Amazon Power Rack. Thankfully, he took my advice in the end. It's funny because everybody wants to get something new. And I'm like, you're much better off just buying a used high quality rack from Facebook Marketplace than if, you don't have the money for a quality rack brand new. You're just better off just getting something used if possible. 619 Driver, I truly appreciate honest reviews. He said, the mustache man is very knowledgeable, but I just don't trust him. Thank you for being real for us. I remember when he came out, and all I'll say about him is he's got a big following. He's definitely not, contrary to popular opinion, he's not the largest home gym content creator or the one with the largest following. But he has influenced a number of people to try the home gym lifestyle. So, he did do some good things. At the same time, I really don't necessarily respect that he puts the audience first over the money that he's able to make off of the products, if that makes sense. Let's see here. Tim says, Tim, you're supposed to be headed to your appointment. You're supposed to be headed to church. You're not supposed to be in the chat with me. Jesus is not my fault. I let him go on time. You saw him. He said, sometimes it's true that you can actually get better for the same money. He said the Titan T2 and the Rep PR100 are great examples. Amazon may be good, but you can get better for the same money. That's true. And then again, so we were talking about ecosystem. So if you got like a Titan, although I'm not a huge fan of Titan either, but if you were to get a Titan T2 or the Rep PR100, and I am a big fan of Rep, then you're not in the Rep ecosystem. And so you're going to find you're starting out with a reputable company that's going to be around if you run into a problem. That's the other thing. Some of these businesses that you patronize on Amazon ain't going to be around. So when you say, hey, I got this or that problem, and you try to waive your warranty at them, they're like, what are you talking about? We never heard of you or whatever. Or the business may not even be around anymore. So there's that. I like to buy stuff from companies that have a good chance of still being around if I happen to need them 5 years down the road. Let's just say it like that. And that's for everything. Let's see. Okay, so I think we cleaned all of that up here. All right. So, yeah, we got my guy Jake. He's going to be coming on in a little bit. We got 6 minutes to the top of the hour. So let me go ahead and just shout out to the Mountain Time Zone now. If you're in the Mountain Time Zone, welcome to Up Way Too Early with Garage Gym Life. It's way too early for a Friday podcast, but nevertheless, we are here. And I appreciate you guys being here, hanging out with me on a Friday morning, trying to help you get your weekend started. We just finished a cool conversation with my guy, Tim Steward from Gym Crafter. So you guys can hit that rewind function and go ahead and check out that interview. He's dropped a lot of cool nuggets there. But in the meantime, if this is your first time here, please hit that like button and hit subscribe. Help me reach my goal of hitting 50,000 subscribers, because I'd like to do that the goal is to do that by December. And I can only do it if you guys help me out. So I need you to hit like and hit subscribe And then I need you to share this video with other people. And if you'd like to do more to support the channel, here's another thing you can do. Hey, I don't want you to just watch this video. I need you to like, subscribe, and if you're already a subscriber, I want you to join our channel for 99 cents a month so you can help us improve YouTube for the home gym community. Okay, back to the video. That's right. It improves YouTube for the home gym community. And when you like and subscribe, it tells YouTube that this is the kind of stuff that you want to see. So it actually helps you out because it starts to influence the algorithm in your favor. So everybody, if you like and subscribe, everybody wins. All right. Let's see something here. So Carp has something related to what I was saying about my method for when I do racks. He said, I did the same thing when I reviewed the RidFit rack. So I used it with Titan Jacobs. I'm not a big fan of Titan either, but they were better. Oh yeah. I mean, there are levels to quality. Let's just say that, right? Yeah. So 619 driver said, what if you buy a USA made product from Rogue versus a Chinese like Rep and we go to war? What happens to Rep? Are they out of business? What happens to the warranty? Well, I mean, the thing is that Rep is a USA company, so they would have to honor the warranty. The problem is you got to ask like whether, assuming we went to war with China in this scenario, it's would they have enough? So let's say there's a problem with your rack and they need to replace something, right? Or a problem with whatever and they need to replace it. They would have to have that thing in their inventory here in the stateside if for some reason they couldn't access their resources over in China. But I will say the other thing too is that a lot more companies make stuff in China than you would imagine. So there's that. I said, if Garage Menschman, what's up? I don't know if this is your first time here. So if Garage Gym Reviews isn't the biggest content creator, then who is? So that is an excellent question. And hang on a second here. I will pull it up because you have to look at, first of all, I have a different perspective on what constitutes home gym. Okay. So for me, it's a home gym content creator. And I'm going to get Jake to chime in on this when I bring him on. But for me, it's a home gym content creator if their content is shot in a home gym and it's about stuff you do in a home gym, not just if it's about gym equipment. All right. For one thing, most people don't know this, but Coop actually owns a public gym as well. And that doesn't mean that he's not a home gym owner, but he owns a public gym as well. And I remember when he first started, he would, again, this is also not a knock on him, but he would do reviews of stuff. And then after you do the review, he'd put it in his, I think it was like a CrossFit box or something like that. That I'm not sure about, but he just put it in there, right? If he didn't have room for it in his garage. But anyway, so my criteria, it's got to be content that's shot in a home gym, and it's got to be content, stuff that you do in a home gym. So with that criteria, Garage Gym Reviews, let's just pull up their numbers, right? So I have not looked at Garage Gym Reviews in a very long time. So I actually have to pull it up so I can see what their current subscriber count is. All right, so let me share my screen with you because I think this is important. All right, so I'm sharing my screen. So Garage Gym Reviews, 530,000 subscribers, which is huge. All right, shout out to them. Much respect. All right. However, if we're looking at that, I would say, so it's 530, right? So this isn't even the biggest one. All right. But let's go with, put their stuff here. Here is another channel, also with Garage in the name. Okay. Garage Strength, shot in his garage, and he's got 573,000 subscribers. Okay. Yeah, he has videos where he talks about equipment, but primarily he's talking about, because he trains athletes in his garage gym. So a lot of his stuff has to do with programming and things like that. All right. Then you've got another channel, and this is 100%. Now, this is more of a female-focused channel, but they do at-home workouts. All right, if you see that number right there, Mad Fit, see that? 9.6 million subscribers. In my opinion, that's more than 530,000. Okay. Then if I were to look at somebody who I actually watch all of the time, and you guys have heard me mention him quite a bit, and it's called, this channel is called Bully Juice. So Bully Juice, okay, right here. So Bully Juice, if you guys see it, 8.8 million subscribers. And he's got another channel, and all of his content is shot in the home gym. And he's got another channel, actually it's a second channel where it's just like family stuff. That's it's over 1 million as well. So there are more. So like I said, it's not that I'm knocking Coop for what he's accomplished. I'm just saying that in my opinion, if I'm looking at what is home gym content, he's not even close to being the biggest channel out there. So there you go. All right, let's put a pin in that discussion, and I'm going to bring on somebody who can also chime in, and maybe he'll disagree with what I have to say, which is fine by me. Show your love, my guy Jake. What's up, man?
Love it. What's up, dude?
This is what happens when you get access to sound effects very early in the morning.
I've noticed some diversity with the sound effects.
Man, nice. I'm all over it. I don't have access to natural sounds. Like, you've got a trained bird chorus behind you. I don't even know how long it took to get them to be able to do that. So that's impressive right there. Okay. So for those of you who do not know, Jake, you should know him, but just in case you don't, Jake is the founder of Garage Gym Experiment, which has a gazillion followers on Instagram. And I periodically go on your Instagram profile and I just kind of hold it next to my face. Like, maybe if I breathe the same air as it, maybe I'll grow on Instagram like that too. And he's also the person behind Garage Gym Radio, which is a what would you call it? Like a collaborative YouTube channel?
Yeah, podcast network.
Yeah. So there's Garage Gym Radio as well. And he's also the mastermind, the head dude behind HomeGymCon, which is the only convention for home gym owners in existence. And even if there were another one, this one was first, and I think it's the best one. I'm completely biased. I don't mind telling anybody. I'm a huge supporter of it. All right. So Jake, I'm going to go back to this. This wasn't on the list of questions I sent you, but I think this is interesting. So Menschman, who I think this is his first time on the channel, so shout out to you, Menschman. Appreciate you being here. He said, because I mentioned that Coop isn't the biggest home gym content creator, right? And so he said, if he isn't, then who is, right? And so that's, I know you were backstage when I started putting up my, So what's your opinion, though, about home gym content creators and who would be the biggest?
I mean, I would have to do a little bit of research on that, but I think in terms of home gym content creators, I imagine there are larger, like there's a lot of moms who work out at home.
Yeah.
And do a lot of workouts that are totally different than like this world that we're kind of in. Right. I would say, like, as far as like home gym content creators who do like equipment, who work in the equipment space.
Oh, that's Coop all day.
Coop is 100 times bigger than
Coop all day.
Anybody.
Yeah.
And then, but I would say he probably isn't. You know, there's other like influencers that target to a totally different demographic. I don't know. I think,
I mean,
online.
I'm this. Go ahead, Jake. I'm just.
I was just going to say there's like just massive potential for online programmers to gain like thousands and thousands of paying subscribers. So, I think Coop's business does very, very, very well. I think there's more potential with like online programming though.
Yeah, so there we go. I don't know if you guys can see that, but this is a list. Like I said, I'm a competitive dude, but I mean, this is just part of the market research that I do in terms of looking at who's out there. And this is just YouTube, by the way. This is just YouTube.
Right.
But you guys can see I have so I mentioned MadFit there at the top with 9.58 million. Bully Juice has 8.85. Grow with Joe. My wife likes that one. 6.7 million. So to your point, yeah, there are a lot of like women who like to work out from home. So the Grow with Joe and the MadFit, they don't even necessarily need equipment to do what they do. Bully Juice is more like Dennis. I think I saw Dennis pop in here, and Dennis Solis said he's actually done some of Bully Juice's programs. Ryan Humiston, that dude's hilarious. And yeah, his stuff is all done in a home gym. And then you got Garage Strength. Bromley's on there. Jim Stepani. Most people don't realize that that's a home gym that's his home gym that he does a lot of his videos in. And so there. I got him. So you guys see all that all the way down to Gluck's Gym. And to me, the other thing about it too, man, is to me, it's not just about the size of the channel doesn't necessarily dictate the quality of the content, because to me, it's like sometimes when a channel is newer, they're trying to differentiate themselves from everybody else. So a lot of times they're going to be the ones that are going to do like the new innovative thing because they're trying to find a way to kind of, set themselves apart from everybody else who's out there. So you can find some gold if you're looking for just content or whatever, if you find some like the smaller channels. So don't think that big channels just automatically mean that they're better. Because, there's complacency that can set in as well. What were you going to say?
Oh, nothing. But I mean, just looking at that list, I haven't heard of most of those people.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's really wherever your niche is, like whatever.
True. It's like and then that's weird too, because like I said, that's just YouTube. So YouTube doesn't, I was talking to Joe, shout out to Joe Gray. And he was like, YouTube doesn't have a home gym category, right? So if you're in the at-home fitness space in whatever capacity, you might have, there's 8 billion people on the planet, right? So getting 2 million of them to follow you doesn't mean that everybody else is going to know about you too. You know what I mean? Even if they're into that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So there's that. So the other encouraging thing for me is that if they can have, so if Jim Stepani can have, well, let's use Midas Movement. So let's say Midas Movement can have 1 million subscribers, but you've never heard of him, I'm assuming, right? That means he still has room to grow, which means there's definitely room for me to grow, because it's very easy for somebody to look at YouTube and say, man, it's so saturated. There's so many content creators. How can I ever grow? And I'm like, this dude's got 1 million subscribers. And I'll bet you most of the people watching this show right now have never heard of him. So that means he still has room to grow, which means we all have room to grow because, this potential is there. So I'm going to say, I don't want to forget this, because Joyce wanted to tell you congratulations. She said HomeGymCon 2024 was awesome, and I 100% agree. I 100% agree. Getting your rounds of applause right there. We got Matt. I'm trying to drag Matt from the UK and make him come to HomeGymCon. We got to figure out something here. And so I do not know the answer to this question. I don't know if you do. Jared wants to know if Coop sold his share of the gym to his partner. He thinks he discussed it when he was interviewed by Rob on Vintage Weights. I have no idea.
I don't know.
I don't. Like, so when I say this stuff, it sounds like I'm a hater, and I guess I don't know, but it's not that I don't like him. It's like I don't think about it, right? So I don't know anything about what Coop's got going on. So there is okay. So Matt said that Brian Shaw is a home gym guy as well. He's got a few million followers. I say he's the biggest garage gym guy. I mean, yeah, he's 6 something. So yeah, there you go. That's enough of that. Let's talk about the stuff that I dragged you on here for. First of all, I ain't singing to you again. I already sang to you once, but happy belated birthday. Okay. How does it feel to still be younger than me?
It feels great, but I'm catching up to you.
You will not, because every time you have a birthday, I'm gonna have a birthday. You will never catch up. I'm not gonna allow it. All right. So I told y'all I'm competitive, right? Even when it's irrational. I refuse to let you have a birthday.
You're still winning.
Yeah, there you go. All right then. You dang right. So I think I was there goes me. Here I go being competitive again, right? So I remember Tim messaged me and was like, "Hey, did you get your tickets for HomeGymCon?" Right? He said, "I just got my tickets." I was like, "Man, yeah, I've had them for a minute." And he was like, "Well, they just released today." And I said, "Well, yeah, but I happened to be up at like 2 a.m. because that was the day that my dog woke me up to go outside to pee or something like that. And then I had to do the show that day. Well, that's the day that I think you released the tickets. So I saw them before. I think I saw them before anybody else, and I went and I grabbed my tickets. So I'm staking my claim as the first one to get tickets. But that being said, other people watching this might want to get rooms as well. So are they like, do you know how many rooms are left did they give you a block of rooms?
Yeah, there's a block of rooms. I want to say like 1,000 total nights. But like, I think the max is around 300. So, yeah, I would say you have plenty of time to get a room, but there's the potential to, like, if you want to get like a queen double room, there's potential for rooms like that to go away first. So I would say lock in your room as soon as you can. You don't have to make a down payment, and then you have the ability to cancel up to 48 hours before. So there's really no risk in just signing up. It helps me a lot too, just because I do have certain numbers to hit, or have to pay quite a bit of money, pay the difference in the numbers that you don't hit. So it's really nice to like knock that out as soon as possible, or just like not have to stress about it the last month or two. So greatly appreciate those that do their room books at the earliest possible time.
Yeah, and I mean, they're not going to charge you until you actually, well, I mean, technically they charge you when you get there,
right?
Because like they do the whole deposit thing or whatever in case you go crazy and tear up your room. But you know, that's not till next June, so you can always like book it and then you just secure with a card, and then there's no whatever. Because and then from what I remember, if you decide, well, I don't want to stay there, you know, we all decide we're going to stay with Jared Martin because he lives in Louisville, instead of getting a hotel, you know, you can just cancel it and there's no penalty or anything like that, as long as you cancel it early enough. So,
right.
I 100% agree. So what's the best way for people to get the discount rate to be able to book those rooms? Is it to go to HomeGymCon on Instagram, or how do they do that?
Yeah, still just you can find it on Instagram. I also have like newsletters where I've put it out, but HomeGymCon Instagram, link in bio, and you can find that room discount link, and it should be on the website soon.
All right, so I'll go ahead and I'll leave this up because so if you have an Instagram, just follow at HomeGymCon on Instagram. You're gonna see all these updates. I'll leave that up for a little bit. So let's see here. All right. So Eric wants to. He's got an Instagram question. He said you've been stuck at 198K on Instagram for 2 years. He's like he wants to know what's up with that. You know, what? How
Yeah,
are you not pushing yourself?
Oh, I mean, I don't. It's just been hard to grow on Instagram for the last 2 years. It's quite a bit different. So you know, I just haven't adapted incredibly well, and I've also focused more on just like who's already there. But yeah, I mean, it has fluctuated between like 196,000 to 201,000 for like the last couple of years. It skyrocketed during COVID, and I think like it's a balance between like steadily gaining but also steadily losing followers because you gained so many during the COVID times. So I mean, I think if you look at it from like where I started, I'm just very happy that it's still there, you know.
So the thing about it is like you get, and this has happened to me, like where you get people who, let me back up. So Instagram prioritizes showing your stuff to new people. And so they don't really have a home gym category either, right? So if you make a post and it has to do with home gym stuff and they show it to, you know, like a bunch of new people and none of those people has any interest in home gym stuff, so they don't interact with it, then Instagram doesn't show it to other people, right? And then they're also not showing it to your current followers as much because they're prioritizing discovery. So I've had it where people who follow me are like, do you still post on Instagram? Because they haven't seen my stuff in their feed. I'm like, yeah, I post at least twice a week, right? And they're like, they just don't see it. I'm like, sometimes more often than that. And they just don't see it. So then they're like, oh, well, this person hasn't whatever. And then they'll, you know, because you know how Instagram does the thing and says like, you haven't interacted with such and such in a while. So then, you know, they'll tell you to, you know, give you the option to unfollow. Well, I feel like that probably has a little bit to do with the attrition as well, you know, because you have people who do that. And then you have people who delete their Instagram account because they're like, I'm taking a social media break or whatever. And so all of that factors into it as well. So that vendor list for HomeGymCon keeps on growing. The last time I checked, there were 70 vendors. Is that where we are, or do you have more vendors now?
I think the count is at 74.
74?
Yeah.
Okay.
74. And then the total space already filled is like 20% larger than last year.
So do you still have room for new vendors, or are you closing in and saying like, okay, I'm going to have to?
No. There's quite a bit more space in Louisville. I think we're right around like 60% full. So
6%. Okay.
I'd love to get over 100 different companies.
That would be crazy, especially when you think about where it started, like, and how many, like,
right.
Seriously, in less than 5 years, you know, because we doubled in the first year. That's just insane. Do you think? Well, let me back up a little bit, because all the booths are not the same size. So, are you running out? Do you still have plenty of large booth spaces? Because I know that they're, you know, like, was it Soren next? That I know they weren't able to come because of what happened with Pop Soren, but was it? I don't know if it was them, but they had like a really huge space originally planned that they were gonna take. So that's like my kind of like the measure that I use in terms of how big a space could be. So do you still have like a lot of big spaces? So if some companies say, hey, we want to get like a giant booth or whatever, you still have room for that? Or is it more like, okay, now we're going to start handing out smaller spaces?
Yeah, so I'm finalizing the floor plan right now. So it's still not even, we still haven't even started choosing spots, but we have, I want to say like, I think there's 5 companies that have over 1,000 square feet. And then there's 3 that have 1,500, which is bigger than anyone had last year. So
yeah.
So so we do like when you're choosing spots, you do have like, is there going to be space for them? And luckily most of them are choosing first, but I'm going to probably save a few like 1,000 square feet options just in case like Peloton wanted to come, or like, in case a few of the larger companies, I'd love to get a few commercial gym companies that are more focused on commercial gym, but like a Life Fitness where a lot of people
I got you.
add maybe like something like that. It'd be like huge, or like Gronk Fitness with their plate loaded line. I'd love to get somebody like them. So I'm definitely going to save a few little areas, but I mean, there's not going to be that much opportunity for a huge booth space after this month.
Okay, yeah, because honestly, it's gonna start looking like Tetris. You know, when you're trying to put everybody, it's gonna look like Tetris.
Yes.
And just to be clear, as we're about to start talking about the Garage Gym games, unlike when we were in French Lick, the games area or the competition area is going to be in a different location. I don't mean like a different hotel, but I mean like there's room for it's not going to be all cramped up like it, you'll have room for the competition, all the different competitions, and you'll still have room for all of the vendors without them running into each other.
Yeah, so hopefully a little bit better planning this year in terms of like space for each of the competitions. So I basically asked each of the discussion or the leaders for each group, like how much space do they need, what's their dream space, and it's been requested for them to have that space. So hopefully there shouldn't be and there was really only issues with the strongman area. But they're going to be on the main floor. Everything's going to be on the main floor. They're each going to have their own area, all in kind of different corners. So spread apart quite a bit.
All right. So this, Jared asked this question earlier, and then he's got another question I'm going to go to right after this one. But he said he's wondering the percentage of home gym owners that lift in the AM versus the ones who lift after work. I know you guys are always doing like your surveys on your show on Garage Gym Radio.
I do have that somewhere. I have that somewhere.
All right. So basically what you're saying is he needs to go watch Garage Gym Radio and you will talk about it in a future episode or something like that. Or are you looking it up right now?
I'm going to try.
Okay. He's going to try to find the right day. All right. So we're going to put a pin in that question. And actually, let me experiment something here. What happens if I just do this? Bam! Look at that. All right. So Eric says his wife and daughter are coming. So he said, I need other kids to go to the pool with her so they're not bored. Yeah. Okay. So my daughter is pretty much going to be with us because I'm not emotionally ready to let her go to the pool without one of us there. And then my wife is going to be with me because, I mean, she was mad that she couldn't go. She wasn't mad at me, but she was mad that she couldn't go to HomeGymCon this past year because she's like, I wanted to see this or that. She was talking about the different pieces of equipment she wanted to see. So, yeah, our daughter's going to pretty much be with us. I plan to rely heavily on Swing Sesh again for entertaining my kid. So, there you go. That's my plan. Jared says we are welcome. He said we can put sleeping bags in the Freedom Gym. There you go. That's all we need. So this is his follow-up question. He said he wanted to know how many vendors there were in year one. And I think
like 40? No, there were, I think
this is less than that.
After like the amount that actually showed up, I think 28 or 30.
Jeez, and you went from because I was like, okay, it was more than double actually from year one to year two.
Yeah.
In terms of people actually showing up. Okay, yeah, and now we're going up. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And again from Jared, he says he plans to share HomeGym tickets, HomeGymCon tickets on Facebook Marketplace. so more home gym people in this area are aware of it. Okay. So I'm assuming he's going to buy them and then share the ticket. Hey, there you go. Nothing like that secondary market. So now I'm picturing him outside HomeGymCon like a scalper with the tickets. And yeah, I want to see that. I'm not suggesting you do it, but if you're going to do it anyway. So one new feature of HomeGymCon 2025 is it's going to be the inaugural Garage Gym Games. So for the sake of anyone watching who is not familiar with the concepts you laid out, what are the Garage Gym Games?
Yep. So the Garage Gym Games are, we're bringing this to HomeGymCon next year as a way to get it going. Last year we had a strongman competition, grip, and then Olympic weightlifting. So those are still going to be there at HomeGymCon again in 2025. But we're also adding the Garage Gym Games, which is a hybrid competition that we're getting going. We have a kind of a really knowledgeable and passionate group kind of working together to figure out what the best way to do that is. But really the ultimate goal is to take these competitions, including the Garage Gym Games, and morph it into kind of a secondary event for the home gym community to get to year after year, with more of a performance-based, that's more performance-based as opposed to like equipment focused. So I think a lot of this community is primarily because of like the reviewers over time is simply all just like focused on adding home gym equipment and making like just amazing home gyms, which is awesome. But the reason that most people get into it is to like stay healthy. So want to create something that revolves around that. And then also just like once a year is there might not be people that can make it once a year. So getting the community together as much as possible twice a year seemed like it could be a cool option.
Okay. So once again, I want you guys, we're talking to Jake from Garage Gym Radio and HomeGymCon. You guys make sure you subscribe to Garage Gym Radio here on YouTube. And if you are checking out the audio version of this show on Podbean, head on over to YouTube and just type in @Garage Gym Radio, and that'll take you right to Jake's podcast network. And you'll be able to subscribe to him on there. So let's go ahead and help him grow on YouTube as well. It's got some really good content. What I really like is you guys, every week you do your surveys, and then you bring the surveys from Instagram and you come. So it's kind of like a snapshot of what the home gym community thinks about X, Y, Z thing, right? So I think that's really cool. My first question about Garage Gym Games is, why is it Garage Gym Games rather than Home Gym Games? And my reason for saying that, is because it's HomeGymCon. So I'm like, well, like, what was it that made you say, well, we're going to go Garage Gym Games? Is it just because it kind of, you love alliteration? Or was it just like, it just kind of like.
Honestly, I just think it sounds better.
Okay. All right. Nice. All right. I think I remember I was talking to Joe Gray about Garage Gym, like why Garage Gym became synonymous with home gym. And I think it's like, in America at least, like the garage is where you kind of go out to do work. Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. And it's like, it's like, oh, he's out in the garage working on whatever. Right. And so I think that's kind of like why it's like that.
Well, I think like Garage Gym, like a garage gym kind of has a better reputation for like having like a power rack in it. Whereas like most people, when they think of home gyms, they might just have like
Bowflex,
a Peloton and a Bowflex. Yes. Yeah. So yes, when I think of home gym, I think of like a Bowflex and Peloton, and that's not really the vibe we're going for. So
we're just going to go ahead and say that the votes for alliteration are starting to roll in, as like they say that's the reason why you picked it. So the 3 G's just roll off the tongue. So I mean, I'm sorry, I'm just saying, man. I feel like that's why you picked it. So
GGG.
that's it. And or it's like G. Anon says that basement gyms are better than garage gyms, and I would argue that all day and twice on Sunday. I have a garage gym, and I love the fact that I don't have to sit down to do overhead presses. The end. All right. And I don't have to worry about that. You know that stupid little dog leg that's when you're going down to the basement and like you have to kind of like you're going down and you have to like kind of bend around. Everybody who has gotten a power rack down those stairs and going around that little dog leg, hey, my hat's off to you, but I'm not trying to do it. So the end. You know, I'll take my lack of climate control and enjoy, and I'll soothe my soul with my increased overhead space and ease of moving equipment in and out. So
and not everybody has basements.
Yeah, well, they said like the basement gym crowd, they always feel like they're like left out. Like you say like, hey, we're doing the garage gym this. Like when Joe came out with the garage gym competition, well, I'm in the basement. Does that like it's fine, man. Yes, you can be part of it. Yes. So here we go. So Sean said basement gym games try to overhead press without hitting the ceiling. I mean, I could do that easy, you know. So even though you and Sean didn't like my idea for the format, you're not stealing my joy. I still think it's a great idea. But I think for the press, all you gotta do is do a Z press. So you're sitting down, bam, there you go. Automatically overhead press without hitting the ceiling. Now, so I mean, you're ridiculously tall, you and Tim Steward, you know, so y'all still might hit the ceiling, Jake, but I'll be fine. So there's that. Dennis Solis said home gyms equals the Mad Fit style channel. A Mad Fit style channel. Yeah. I mean, I get that, but then I also look at it too. That's like the perception, but I also think about former IPF powerlifting champion Mike Teixeira. For a long time he lifted in a spare bedroom. I mean, so the dude's like squatting 700 in a spare bedroom, which to me shows amazing confidence because I'd be worried about the floor. You know what I mean? But there is that. Eric Eccles. Eric has had a shed gym for like 5 minutes. Okay. And he said shed gyms are better than basement gyms which are better than garage gyms. Eric.
So a shed gym is 100% better as long as it's big enough.
I mean, if we're going to go down that road, then a barn gym is better than a shed gym.
Yeah.
And I'm going to come right back. And I've actually had a shed gym. And I say that a shed is just a glorified garage. It's just a detached garage. Bam, right back in the lead. All right. So Joey Echeverria, you want to move to New York, Joey. I don't know. So we're off on a tangent already. Okay. I believe it or not, actually had a list of questions and I had a format, and you guys are taking us off on a tangent and I love it. Joey wants a 10-foot basement with a roller door to have the best of both worlds. And actually, I think in New York and maybe in Philadelphia, because I know a couple people who have basement gyms in Philadelphia, and they have like a kind of an access door. They said that some of the older homes have an access door so that you can still get into the basement. So yeah, just pack up your family. Let your wife know. I'm sure she'll be down with it. Just let her know y'all are moving to Philadelphia so you can have a basement with a roller door. I'm sure. I mean, what's the likelihood she goes off on you? Said a barn is just a bigger shed. A shed is just a detached garage. That's all I'm saying. So let's go back to the garage gym games. I love that you're building this thing in public. And you said that was your process when you were designing HomeGymCon. You and I'm assuming Kyle and, you know, some other people, you guys were just kind of like throwing ideas back and forth and, you know, and Adam, you know, just like, hey, what makes the most sense? So every conversation makes you learn something, you know, in some way. So what have you learned so far in the process of planning the first ever garage gym games?
Yeah, I think, you know, in planning creating something like that, you always have like these big ambitious goals that you want to like it to just kind of take off right away. And I think one thing that I've learned over the years is it's just probably not going to happen. So like, I think the biggest thing, like we did a live meeting, and I think my original goal was to try and like get these big top athletes and like try and get just a small amount to like make this thing cool. And then it would spread among the home gym community. Whereas like, I think the goal is to really, from day one, it should be to be hyper focused on home gymmers. So like, it really should be something where like, you definitely need a home gym if you want to attend these garage gym games. Because you just really want to showcase what a home gym can do and how it can help and how you can actually become a great athlete from just doing stuff within your home gym. So I would say that's the biggest, like, should have obviously thought that in the first place. And that was basically just talking with another benefit to building something in public where you can, or just building stuff with other people in the know, I should say. So like, it was basically kind of hit me in the head after I talked to them and saw a few online comments like that's what it should be. So I think that is the biggest thing that I've taken away so far from the early conversations.
So here's the thing. And I know you're taking ideas, right? So before I forget this, because this occurred to me as you were talking. It's not in the questions I was going to ask you. So I don't forget it. I'll ask it now. Since you are still in the idea collection phase, if somebody wants to get involved, or maybe they don't want to be part of necessarily the planning, but they just have an idea and they want to send it to you, what's the best way for them to do that? I mean, do you want people making Instagram posts and tagging you? Do you want, because then that's going to be hard to keep track of. How do people, you want to just put comments on your videos, or what do you want them to do?
The easiest way for me to respond is just through email, jake@garagegymexperiment.com. That's the easiest way for me to like, unless it's like just a quick hitter, you can DM me. But like, if it's a really solid suggestion and you want a thoughtful response, email is probably the best way to do that.
All right. If you want a thoughtful response, there's so many funny things I could say, but I'm just gonna say, all right, here we go. All right, there you go. So email that way. Yeah. It just, because I was just like, okay, well, first of all, people are going to respond. Like I told you last night or yesterday when we were talking on the phone, it's like, it's very easy for people to criticize an idea that's already out there. But a lot of times you have to put the idea out there for you to then ultimately create anything. You know what I mean? Like, so I always give huge credit to somebody who's able to, in a vacuum, come up with something more than somebody who sees something that's already there and then kind of fine tunes it. Even though I think that there is something to be said for somebody who sees a thing and makes it better. But to me, like the creativity to come up with something, there's nothing like, I used to tell my kids, like, if the way that you can tell the difference between an entrepreneur and just and an employee is if I take an employee, somebody with an employee mindset, and an entrepreneur to an empty field, and I just put both of them right there, the entrepreneur is going to come up with business ideas because he's going to say, oh, there's nothing here. Good. I don't have any competition. He's like, suddenly his mind is going. And an employee mindset is like, man, I don't want to be here. There's nothing here. Like, there's nothing to do. You know what I'm saying? So
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like literally you think about how many businesses were founded in like places where there's nothing. Like those small towns where there's nothing there, right? Mm-hmm. So having said that, you also kind of get like, you run the risk of, even when you're having these conversations, sometimes you're just thinking out loud. and then you get people who are going to like respond to your idea. You're like, well, because you even asked the question, you're like, well, what if we do this? And I love that you phrase a lot of things because you're very collaborative. You're like, well, what if we tried this, right? And then people are like, no, you don't know. I'm like, well, he didn't say that. He's like definitely pledging allegiance to this idea. He just want to know, you know, what do you think about it or whatever. What is, let's say, you've only had like a few interactions so far, that one meeting, and then you've had like the interactions in the Home Gym group chat on Facebook, and I assume a couple other places. What are some things that you can say, okay, now I know based on what we've talked about so far, these things have to be part of the Garage Gym games. These have to be elements of it.
Yeah. So I mean, I think a lot of it is, you know, taking the strengths of taking the strengths of like other sports out there, and combining them into something cool, and making it something that everybody can get involved in, and get behind. So I think we want to, like, you know, easier said than done, but you want to create kind of like a weekly or monthly leaderboard, challenges that people can get involved, that ultimately leads to the competition. I think there's definitely like a lot of like unknowns, like, for this to work, it's going to take like some early adopters to like instantly love and help spread the word. And we're also going to need some equipment companies to get behind.
Right.
So like
hold on. Have you talked to any equipment companies? Like say, hey, I got an idea. I want to kind of float past you.
No, not yet. Kind of have it.
Because I mean, like to me, JB would be like a easy one. You know, with Freedom Strength, the sandbags.
There's a lot of easy ones. I mean, that's why there's potential, because, you know, we have this HomeGymCon network,
right?
That's already built, and if we can get this thing rolling, you know, there's potential for the community to come together even closer with this,
right?
Because right now you have this powerlifting segment, you have a strongman segment, you have, you know, functional fitness or CrossFit segment. Nobody's really bringing it all together for like,
right.
So, and there's definitely going to be like people who are better suited to each of those individual sports, right? No doubt. That's where their interests lie. That's where their strengths are. But there's also like this general home gym athlete that has nothing, or they just want to stay healthy, and there's no real community behind it other than like, how cool's my gym equipment, you know? So
yeah,
like, you know, that's kind of what we're trying to figure out. What's the best way to do it? Honestly, I don't have many answers. This is just one of those things where, you know, I kind of see where this could go, and going to just kind of start something, and like you said, build it in public, try and get as much feedback as we can.
right.
But there were a handful of people that reached out right away and were like, hey, I'd love to help. Yeah. So there's a solid group that's kind of forming to really try and help make this happen. But
so like, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I don't think I answered your question, which I kind of forget what it was, but.
Oh, that's fine. It's okay. I mean, I liked your answer though, where you kind of like you saying, because you're explaining like your vision for it, which is cool too. So let's try it this way, because there are things that I'm curious about. So when I'm listening, so I watched the first meeting, and then, you know, I've had a few conversations since then. What I'm not 100% sure about is, on the one hand, you're saying that you want to get, that the intention for this is to attract the top athletes, right? And your goal is to have ultimately have 8 people competing at the Garage Gym Games. Is that correct?
That's the plan for year one right now. Yeah.
Okay, so 8 people. All right. So my question then is the idea to select these 8 finalists from a pool of people, kind of like they do with the CrossFit Games, or even to a certain extent what happens with Static Monsters? I don't know if you're familiar with Static Monsters, but for the sake of anybody who doesn't know, so Matt has done Static Monsters. It's basically a strongman thing, right? And so basically what happens is every year, the same Saturday and the same weekend in October, Static Monsters is held. And it's basically it's an overhead press, it's an axle press and a wagon wheel deadlift strongman competition, right? And you can have the only rule is you can't be more than 400. You can have you can host a venue as long as there's not another venue already in existence that's closer to you than 400 miles. Okay. So as a result, it's in every country in the world. So it's the one competition where people can truly say that they're competing against other athletes in the same competition on the same day, more or less, in the world, right? Mm-hmm. Well, then all the winners, and they have judges and everything else. So then all the winners get to go to Static Monsters World Championships, which is an actual event you have to travel to, and it moves around to different places. So it's not quite like the CrossFit Open where you basically video yourself doing the thing and you send it and they kind of judge you based off of that. But it's the same idea, like, hey, you know, we have like, essentially we have qualify, and then if we qualify, then we get to advance, right? So my question is, are you leaning towards that method for selecting the 8 people who are going to be competing next June?
Yeah, I think year one is just going to be totally different because we're just trying to get it up and running. But I think you want the smallest barrier to entry as possible. So I think if somebody needs to travel 50 miles to do something, they're probably not going to do it. So right. I think leaning towards some sort of online competition. Right. We also discussed just video submissions to showcase what you can do. So right. I think in terms of year one, we still need to figure that out. And there's some controversy around it, but probably do some sort of hybrid. Maybe 6 people get in with the competitions and then 2 people for video submissions, because the video submissions would be a good marketing tool as well.
Sure.
And I think one thing that we want to, there is definitely an ecosystem, there's an ecosystem that can potentially be created off of this. You don't want to forecast what's going to happen when you never know. But if you're a top athlete, you will ultimately we want people to be able to follow you and see how you train. And sure. Then it gives you the potential to, like we were discussing, there weren't really any home gym content creators revolved around performance, at least within this space. So it opens it up for things like that. It opens it up for companies to create online programs around this sort of training. So yeah, I think that's kind of the goal as well. You want to be able to showcase who these athletes are and allow them to educate and inspire.
So there's another kind of side effect of it too. So let me back up a little bit. So when I was asking you about the selection process, right? I'm saying that, as opposed to, I just know that these athletes are at the top of whatever. So I'm inviting all of them, Sean mentioned Physical 100, right? And you just kind of recruit. You say, okay, I'm going to pick you and you and you and all these people we know about. Hey, you look like you'd probably be good at this sort of competition. I'm inviting you to come. So now it's an invitational. So we're picking you. to come to it, as opposed to, and in that case, the draw for you agreeing to come is if there's like, money involved, as opposed to, okay, everybody gets to just try out. Because to a certain extent, the first way gets a lot of crowd participation. So that would generate interest, because everybody, hey, what are you doing? Oh, this weekend I'm trying out, I'm submitting my thing for this thing that's coming up, that kind of thing. So you get that. The second thing that I thought of when you're saying like performance is, I'm thinking about, so I know there are all these coaches. The one that jumps into my head right away is Jared Moon. Shout out to Jared. Runs Garage Gym Athlete. Well, his entire thing is set up around preparing you for really whatever, right? So, he's got Meet Yourself Saturday, where you just do a horrible thing to yourself every Saturday, and I know that sounds horrible, but it sounds crazy, but that's really what it is. Literally, go look at some of the things for Meet Yourself Saturday. You're like, why would you do that to yourself? Like everybody's just like destroyed from these workouts they do on Saturday, right? Mm-hmm. And like, what they call it, like you saw the white elephant or whatever, or the white buffalo. But then it's kind of like what MMA was when before the UFC, you had all these martial arts instructors who were talking about how deadly their art was, right? Well, then here comes the UFC and they invite all of these people, like, prove it, right? And then all of a sudden they're seeing like how much stuff doesn't work when the person that you're fighting doesn't cooperate with your preconceived whatever preset rule format. And so to me, it just seems like if you've got all these coaches who are like, hey, I'm preparing you for life, all these functional fitness coaches, I'm like, well, if you're coaching me, I should be able to go do this thing and do well in it, right? So it's kind of like a put up or shut up type deal. So I would think that some of that would also play a role in it too, because they would be the ones that you could reach out to, say, hey, we're having this thing, if you want to send some athletes to it, or encourage your athletes to try out. I think that'd be really cool. I didn't want to forget Sean's comment. That's why I put it up. He said, like a lot of us, I started with some ideas I was excited about for the games, but he says, but I'm ready and happy for 99% of them to be replaced by better ideas. He said, this community is awesome. Yeah, I think, you always end up with a better product when you collaborate. You know what I mean? Because everybody's coming to it from a different, with a different set of experiences that inform why they make the choices they make. There's a reason why the Australians invented the boomerang and everybody else invented the quiver. You know what I mean? It's like there's a reason. So
yeah, I mean, I think like Sean's been a huge help already, and I think that's the same mindset I have. It was like, let's just get this out and let's let it grow organically. And also just like your idea of like inviting people, that's what I was thinking to begin with. So I guess we're not too far off, but I think like, I think we want
you
to.
You just hate my Dan John idea.
I do not hate it. But I think we want to grow it organically,
right?
Get some of the kinks out first as well, and then try and like hopefully it attracts some people, because I don't think there's really any, I think obviously there's CrossFit, but CrossFit's intimidating to a lot of people because you have to. There's Olympic weightlifting, and there's also like a lot of gymnastics stuff that takes quite a bit to learn, and not everybody wants to do that. There's powerlifting that is, not really focused on any endurance, which I think most people
quite frankly, the singlet is a barrier to entry for powerlifting. I'm not joking.
Yeah.
Seriously, a lot of people are like, I'm not trying to wear that. Like I'm buying a thing that I'm only going to wear twice a year, and I got to spend all this money on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I, unless I compete more than that, but average person doesn't really compete that often. You know what I mean? It's like, why am I buying this specialized thing to only use it once or twice a year? You know, with all these other sports, I can just wear what I have now. You know, what are you talking about? You know, so yeah, I get it. I mean, dude, and I know there's some other stuff that we want to talk about too, because I want to talk about your trip to PRX before we let you go.
I'm in no hurry.
And then also, I told you guys I would do Free for All Friday, and I'm very like, this would be the first ever, and it could be the last ever. Because if nobody takes me up on the offer to come on, then that's the last time we're ever doing it. And also, if y'all come on here and somebody's out of hand, then that's the last time we're ever doing it. But it could be the most awesome thing ever. So, like, there was a thing I told Carlos. We were talking, and I was telling him about Free for All Friday. I said, trying to think what the thing was. I told him, I said, I'm nervous and excited at the same time. I said, it's probably an amazingly dumb idea, but civilization advances on the back of wild ideas carried out by crazy people who are too dumb to not try. So, yeah, there you go. So the basic thing, Free for All Friday, let's go ahead and do this now, and then we'll continue to talk, here is the invite link. All you have to do, if you're using your phone to watch this, you can, and if you're watching replay, obviously you're not going to be able to be a part of it, but I've just posted the invite link in the chat. And so if you are interested in joining, you don't have to enable your camera. So if you're somewhere where you don't want to show your background, that's fine. But basically you just click that link, and and if you're on your phone, there's an app you can use, a free app. So you can come on and you can talk about anything you want. That's as long as it's home gym related, and we don't allow any profanity because you're gonna screw up my algorithm, and that's pretty much that. But other than that, you guys feel free to come on. And it's also, you can ask Jake. He's gonna hang out a little bit, so you guys can, if you have a question you want to ask him, you can ask him too. So this is my version of a call-in show right now, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But the final thing I want to say about the Garage Gym Games is you mentioned CrossFit. CrossFit has grown and ballooned beyond what it started out as. And it sounds to me like what you're doing is taking it back to the roots of CrossFit, back when it was on Greg Glassman's ranch. And it was just like if you look at the events, they were fairly simple in terms of technical skill. You just had to be in shape to be able to do them, right? And so, and in fact, I think they did invitational. So like they invited, what was his name? John, he was like he's a former NFL football player, and he also trained at Westside Barbell, and he ended up becoming a CrossFit gym owner. Anyway, the point is they invited him, and that was his first experience with CrossFit. He's like, oh yeah, I'll go here and I'll just win this, because he had been in the NFL. And they said he goes there. He's like, yeah, he's like, man, I almost died. Yeah. He's like a really big dude. He said he had a thing, he owned CrossFit football. He's like, yeah, man, I almost died. So that's horrible. So it was like invitational with that as well. So I'm like, it's like Garage Gym Games is kind of taking us back to the roots of what CrossFit originally was supposed to be, where it was like, a competition where it was like a hybrid of multiple different things. And the idea was that you're going to be good at a lot of things. Maybe you weren't a master in anything, but you were very good in a lot of things. So I have high hopes for this, and I can't wait to see where it goes. But let's shift gears. You went to Fargo for PR to meet with the people at PRX. I watched you moderate that event, and I thought that was really cool. What are some things that you can tell us, like behind? I'm not talking about like drama, but I mean, like, what are some cool things you can talk about that are more behind the scenes things that we didn't get to see in the Roundtable video?
Yeah, I mean, I touched on this on one of my podcasts, but there was obviously quite a bit of controversy, and the consensus was that PRX they misstepped, or they kind of like didn't do the right thing. And not only with releasing the Halo arms without collaboration, but with like the response video. I think like in terms of like getting the Halo arms to market, there were things behind the scenes that nobody really knew, or they didn't even admit to. But like, they are kind of like they're a very successful, primarily made in America brand, and the owners have kind of shifted to like a very high level. So when all of this happened, there was like a new president, and then so I think they just weren't super in tune with what was going on within the community, and that they just didn't really. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. They just weren't on top of things, and I think when Kyle's reaction came, it just caught them off guard, and they instantly reacted. I mean, it took a few days, but they reacted kind of in the wrong way. Yeah. And I think the biggest thing that I saw was like, I think they saw the comments on people's posts and were like, oh, okay, we are in the wrong, or we should have done something different. So I think that was the biggest thing that like I kind of took away. Like they were mad, I'm guessing, and then ultimately we're just like, oh, okay, let's fix this. And I think there were, so I kind of weaseled my way in. I was, and I think Kyle wanted somebody to go along with them. And since we're both at Indy, it worked out. But I'm not like entirely sure what happened within the month of them meeting in person and like that, because I think there was still like, it still took a bit of like, they had to reach out, they had to come back.
Sure.
So I don't know exactly what happened, but by the time we were there, I think everyone had been on conference calls and they had kind of figured out some sort of game plan. So when we got there, it wasn't like we weren't like going into dark rooms or they weren't going in dark rooms and like hammering out a deal. So
you didn't like,
so there's that.
There's like plastic on the floor and everywhere. You're like, uh-oh.
No. And we did some like fun stuff. They did like, they gave us an overview of their company and like a tour of the facility. And, you could see the power racks being made by machinery. And then also just like people putting in equipment, or like hammering in equipment. So it was like clearly being assembled within the USA. So I think that kind of helped like showcase, oh, there are people behind this brand. It's not this big, large corporate entity. So, so I think those are a few of the big things behind the scenes that shifted. And I think ultimately, like how they are looking at this is it could ultimately be a blessing in disguise because it gives them a whole different framework on the potential of working with other people and like knowing that they can quickly create stuff within the US, whereas like a lot of other companies cannot. So there is potential for them to make something out of this. I think like easier said than done. Like you need to get the right pieces in place, get the right systems. So a lot of it is still like yet to be proven by PRX, but could be a cool outcome in the end.
So yeah, there's a bunch of things. So like I remember first of all, when Kyle was on the show, he mentioned that he had been in talks with them and that that a dialogue had started. So I was hoping that it would be all good by the time you guys went out there. Second thing is the thing that people forget is like PRX was started by two home gym owners who solved a problem, right? They had they're working out in home gym, and where they are, it's cold. So they're like, well, our car batteries are dying because we're parking our car. We have like the home gym set up and we got the cars parked outside where the car batteries are dying, or we have to put the car blanket over it. That's not going to work. We have to be able to park inside. So they came up with the folding rack idea. And Brian Brosh, I interviewed him back when I had the magazine, and we were just talking about entrepreneurship actually. And he's like, he said he had owned a business where he had a manufacturing background. And so that was one of the things that kind of made it easier for them to be able to ramp up PRX or whatever before they ever went to Shark Tank. So they actually were able to demonstrate, hey, we've got something. We're not just showing up with an idea, right? And I think, so the thing is that I celebrate them, even though I don't really have a bunch. I don't have any PRX stuff right now. I have had PRX stuff in the past, but I don't. But I still celebrate their company because, in effect, they made it. They're a home gym success story. They saw a problem, solved the problem, were able to monetize it, start a company, and not just start a company, but make the company big enough to also positively affect other people. So because two home gym owners had an idea sitting around a campfire one day, you now have people who are able to put their kids to college, through college, and pay medical bills for their family and feed their families because two people who own home gyms had an idea one day. And that's like the thing that every home gym owner, whoever has an idea, like if that happened for all of us, that's success. So I don't ever look at them as like the bad guy. If anything, when it happened, it made me sad because I was like, dude, this is where you came from. You know, you can't cut somebody off at the knees, because remember when you were fighting for your lives because big companies started coming in to try to steal their folding rack design. I remember that. That's the advantage of being old. Like they come in and try to steal like their folding rack design. That's when they became really patent happy, because they're like, hey, look, obviously they have a thing with Kevin O'Leary. Yeah. And he's like, look, you got to have a patent to protect yourself. Well, that's why they have patents, because they're like, yeah, when we first started, everybody's coming after us trying to steal our idea. We had one idea, a folding rack, and Rogue showed up with their folding rack and, whatever. And so, let the games begin. So I'm just like, I'm so glad that it came around to now where it is. Now there's a pathway, and they talk about it in the video. So I encourage everybody to go watch that video, that roundtable, because they talk about the pathway that they're trying to create so that other people with ideas can maybe bring them to Kyle, and Kyle can maybe potentially serve as a, not a filter, but more like help you make the idea something that they can look at, because they get tons of ideas now and they're not able. And a lot of them, they're like, well, this isn't really ready for us to do anything with, so I think that's a really positive outcome. Anand wants to know what you thought about the leg curl, leg extension attachment.
Yeah, it's good. I think it was especially nice with the pulley. So they do have like somewhere where you can attach a pulley to get the full resistance from the beginning of the movements. I thought that was really cool. If it's just the plate loaded, it's still a fine plate loaded option. So, I mean, not too much to say about it other than, yeah, it's pretty nice. It's not cheap though. So, but I did, actually, I'll add one more thing. It's, if you do like a quick comparison to the Bulletproof Isolator, I would say it like feels relatively the same as like a plate loaded option, but it's kind of a unique because it goes to like their access pad, which I would almost prefer as opposed to like the rest of the isolator. So that would be something to consider as well.
Okay. And let's see, Eric says he's planning on making a video and sending it to that PRX guy. Okay. Hey, Eric's already got one invention out there. Why not? Hey, let's get as many of them out there. All right. Okay, cool. I think the other thing about it for me, with PRX in general, is I like the fact that they were at HomeGymCon, because I think that that's another avenue potentially. Obviously, the president of the company, I don't know if he was there or not, because I don't think he had even started, had he?
I think he had just started and he did go.
Okay.
But I didn't even know. I didn't know who he was, or I don't think anyone did. Yeah.
So So how it relates to it is because you had like your inventor area, so people could pitch ideas or whatever. And so that's yet another thing. You're gonna like the little, not inventors roundtable, but kind of like, hey, if you've got an idea, I think that'd be kind of cool to have like all of the brands that are established go there. If they're interested, you kind of make it kind of like a not speed dating, but like like those college job fairs. You know, where you can
or like a little Shark Tank pitch.
Yeah, like, you know, like you just have an area said, hey, look, you know, you come over here. What, like, do you need, like, this is an area where you can kind of pitch these people and kind of have like get in front of them. They can kind of see you and you can get face to face or whatever. Like, I know Michael Vaudrey had his invention that he was trying to like meet with people about. And so they went there for that. So I think that's another thing that's really cool about HomeGymCon, that it makes it easier to make contact with people, which is why, to me, why I'm even like when I was talking to Tim earlier, I'm like, for me, HomeGymCon is something that I'm going to, I have to like on purpose make sure I set aside time to make contact with brands, because especially now there's like over 70 brands that are there. I wasn't able to, you know, I had to reach out to you to get in touch with Right Fitness, because I didn't get a chance to go by their booth because I just ran out of time. And that like takes away from the networking aspect for me. So that's just one of those things. But I love that HomeGymCon is an opportunity. So shout out to the West Coast. Thank you for hanging out and staying with me a little bit longer, Jake. Shout out to the West Coast. We've been talking for a little bit. We've already had a West Coast representative. I want to make sure I go back up and shout him out, because this was his first time checking out the show. Let's see, 619.driver. He's on the West Coast. He's in San Diego. So my man, thank you so much for being up early and checking out the show. I don't know if you're a truck driver and you're out and about doing deliveries, but hey man, I hope you have an excellent weekend. Shout out to the rest of everybody on the West Coast. Thank you for checking out Up Way Too Early with Garage Gym Life. I'll be making, I've decided I do like that brand new show title, so we're going to call it that. And if this is your first time on the show, please hit like, hit subscribe, help me hit 50,000 subscribers. And then as soon as you finish doing that, like literally as soon as you finish doing that, I need you to go and subscribe to Garage Gym Radio on YouTube as well, so you can help Jake grow as well. All right. Coming up next week, we've got Peter Keller from Fringe Sport, Fabio from Finest Home Gyms, their home gym installers, and my guy Brian from Wait It Out. They're going to be joining the show. So you want to get updates, make sure you follow at Garage Gym Life on Threads. Follow Garage Gym Experiment on Threads. You're on Threads, right? Follow
Sure,
at Garage Gym Experiment on. He's sure. That was like a ringing in. Yes, I know you're on there. And follow at Garage Gym Experiment on Threads. But if you follow me on Threads, that's where I give you guys updates about what's happening on this YouTube channel, and as well as my community posts. So Jake, thanks a lot for being here, man. You got anything you want to say before we go?
No, thanks for having me.
Oh, man, you got an open invite. Mikasa is Sukasa. All
Right back at you.
Yeah, you can even pitch in on the Bills if you want to.
Oh.
All right. Appreciate everybody for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. And I'm about to go, and I guess let's have breakfast. Have breakfast.